The historical 1990 Grand Final. Port and Glenelg front for the last flag, as SA have known it for nearly 100 years. At the bounce, it's going to be Melican against Johnson. Stephen Williams sends the Magpies into attack. Marnie gets a bad one. Gibbs out to the outer side, giving chase out there will be Darren Smith. With him is Dean. Dean can't find the football. Hutton back to Smith. Around the corner, Geneva. Undercloud with the ankle injury. Does it beautifully, slips it out. Hutton now puts it in towards goal. Hodges! And they thump the ball away and through the goal line. And Port Adelaide has got the first score on the board.
And as expected, Ian, Chris Duthie opens up at full-back. The custodian of Scott Hodges, the champion full forward in South Australia this year, with 147 goals to his name so far.
And the ball was brought back into play by Ross Gibbs. The short pass went out to Tony Simons. He searches for Thompson, didn't find that player, and the mark has been taken by Christie. Back to Simons in the 1-2. He's opposed to Tregenza this afternoon, and little George Fiarchi takes a big grab from behind. We played 1 minute of the 1990 Grand Final. The ball in towards Geneva, out to Mark Williams. He searches for brother Stevens and finds him. Now not sure which way to go, trying to draw the player. He lets fly with a big torpedo punt. Underneath it is Marnie, but the ball has been pushed through for a point. Port Adelaide 2 points. Glenelg yet to get on the board.
Ross Gibbs, back pocket player for Glenelg, chose the safety first option, punched it through for a point only. And as Kim just said, 2 points on the board already to Port Adelaide with 1:29 of play.
Gee, the Magpies had some loose players grandstand side. The Bays went chasing the football for a while, dropped their concentration. Beautifully put, Gibbs. Dean at centre wing, lost the football. Well done, Wanganini, got it back again. Johnson can't get it clear. Dean would need support. Hallahan in there, can't get it out. High tackle. And umpire Rick Kinnear will come in and give a free kick away to Brett Dean. Umpires Kinnear and Mark Mackey in charge.
Brett Dean picked on the bench, Ian, opens up as the wingman.
Terrible kick, went straight to his opposition. In Tregenza, puts it up for grabs. Smith out in front of the pack. Can't get there. Duthie in defence. Quickly now, Seabohm runs the ball to the line and takes it out in the right full forward pocket for Port Adelaide.
In fact, just checking that, Graham, and I think you'll find Tony Simons is standing Simon Tregenza. He had reasonable success against that player last time the two sides met, as Bartlett tried to tap that down towards Salisbury. McDermott is there, but umpire Rick Kinnear will bounce in the right full forward pocket. Southern end of Football Park, the end the breeze is favouring.
Another player picked on the bench, Matthew Liptak, is starting in the actual opening 18 as second rover for Glenelg.
Well, there was no question that Graham Corns would not line up as named. It's a ploy he always uses as players desperately fight to take possession, unsuccessfully though. And once more Rick Kinnear will bounce. And Mark Mackey, the other umpire today, officiating in his first league grand final. So we talk of players being a little nervous. I can assure you that man would be nervous as well. Over the top, Abernathy gets the ball out towards Geneva under an injury cloud with a bad ankle, slips at the vital moment, gets it out towards Hines. He's been drafted by the West Coast Eagles, but his kick has been taken by Robbie Thompson. Puts it out wide, looking for Christie once more. The spoiler is Johnston, the captain. Fiarchi well down the ground. He doesn't mind kicking a goal, George. He handballed to no one in particular. Overran the football. He's still in there fighting. The handball goes to Marshall. Now Geneva an opportunity. Salisbury applies the heat. Marshall gets the kick away. Jamison had to dive desperately. Dean is there to lend support, but Johnson picked it up like a rover. It goes back to his opponent, his ruckman in Melican. He gets the kick down towards Christie. Rosonico did it well. Former Collingwood player. Mark Williams, brilliant handball. Out towards Darren Smith. Back to Greg Phillips. The Rock of Gibraltar puts one forward and finds Alan Bartlett.
Only two players in the Bay attacking division as Thompson takes it away for the Bays. Out wide, out towards centre wing. Liptak sets himself out there. That will be paid. Attack side of centre wing to put the Bays into attack for the first time. Jamison is clear. He'll get it next. Beautifully put. Jamison on the half-forward line. Out goes Fidge now on a lead. Gives him a chance. Fidge is 40 out. Most acute angle. Not an easy kick by any stretch of the imagination. The breeze is coming in from his right to left. And a very important player in the Bays' quest for the 1990 flag. Takes his time to the lake end. Not a long kicker, not a straight long kicker. Kick underway, going across the face of goal, 1 point. The Bays have taken almost 5 minutes to get a score on the board.
And kicking into the breeze, that's not misunderstandable. That they are having trouble getting the ball into their forward line, first of all, and secondly, having a direct shot for goal. It's the first one, and John Fidge has drawn first blood for the Bays with that point.
For Rosonico to bring the ball back into play. Players form in a huddle, centre field. Rosonico opts for the grandstand side. Not a bad looking kick, looking for Greg Phillips. He was up high, couldn't take it. Nigel Mansell could though, as Mansell puts it forward. Fidge underneath, big leap from Rosonico. Recovers well, the handle out towards Mark Williams. The crowd appreciate the defensive play of Port Adelaide as the ball is put out towards Hutton. Dean met him front on, and he'll be penalised for that. And David Hutton will receive the free kick. 5.5 minutes into the opening term. This is how it happened, and a little bit crude, and a little bit around the face area. Hutton, very courageous player, puts it up high. Underneath it was Thompson, couldn't control it. Back over the top, Bartlett there, going through solidly is Foster. Oh, so too McDermott, at a dead heat situation. Just looking over the field again, Kim, more changes by Glenelg to the selected team. Rod Jammers has gone to a half-forward flank, and Scott Salisbury's got Gavin Wanganeen, obviously his shadow for the day.
The Magpies by a point. Tregenza, clear, gives it a chance. Going to be offline, just a point only. And the speedy wingman has come down right from his wing to have a shot from about 35 metres out. Port goes on to 3 points. Glenelg is a point, and we've played 6 minutes of the 90 grand final.
Look at the huddle in the centre. They're going always, the players, from the kick in, and Ross Gibbs kicking out.
Well, it didn't pay off. Well, it did pay off for the Tigers. The short pass finds John Seabohm. He played in the 1988 clash between these two sides. Out to Bartlett, the back pocket player for the Tigers. Finds Jamieson. One must question the move of him on a half-forward flank. He's been a star in defence. He drives it in long. The back of the pack, Rosonico couldn't control it. Off the ground there. Trying to soccer it forward was Murphy. Phillips, his opponent, gets the handball away. Little Hallahan tried to kick it. Murphy there again. Rosonico fighting strongly. And umpire Mark Mackey, a good piece of umpiring, allowing the players just to work things out for themselves. Will now bounce on that outer side.
On the half-forward right flank, at the bounce, Murphy's in there, but it's Christie who gets the tap away. Coming through Foster towards the centre wing spot. The bounce will determine. Thompson gives chase, gets it well, hooks back towards the half-forward line. Christie's there, gets the fly away, can't find the football. Going through Mansell, looks for a runner. Marshall, here's a chance. Murphy, Fidge, 2-on-1. Fidge under pressure. Murphy wants the football. The handball's not all that good. Great tackling by Port Adelaide. Harris indeed loses the football as well. Marshall butters up for the Bays. He's got one in the pocket if he can find him. Simons, Murphy's clear. He ought to get it. He's going in longer. Looking up there for Christie. Christie sets. Big mark in front there by Christie, and he's got the ball about 25 metres right out in front.
Well, I was going to say that Tony Simons took the wrong option there, going to Christie, because unmarked about 30 metres away was Murphy, but no, Christie was equal to the task, took the mark, and now should kick a somewhat easy goal.
30 metres out, dead in front. The Bays have got their first on the ball. No, correction, offline a point. Gee, Christie thought it was home.
Give a bloke a rap, Ian, every time they do it to you. I thought it was a goal, but it swung late, and the goal umpire obviously was in a better position than we are. 1 point only, and the Bays are now 1 point closer to the Port, obviously.
2 points plays 3 points. The Magpies in front as Rosonico kicks to the outer side. Fiati opted to stay out of that. He saw Abbott coming, and what a grab it was. Bruce Abernathy, the champion he's been over the years, played for North Melbourne and Collingwood. Hines from behind, Bartlett front position. Bartlett beat Hines in the second semi-final. Now Seabohm, the veteran, out towards Thompson. His kick is very high. Lip tackle had to sit underneath that, and he lost the flight of the ball and perhaps dropped what he should have taken.
Just grand final nerves, obviously, Kim. It's happened to a couple of players now. They've missed the somewhat easy chance to take possession of the ball.
I knew it was a pretty high kick swirling around here at the Football Park Stadium. McDermott gets his first kick for the match around his body. Back to Fiati. Gee, reads the play well. Gets the handball away. Johnston off the turf. That was the best option. Wanganeen couldn't take it. Through goes Big Melican, the boy from the southeast. The ball is flicked out towards Tregenza. Wanganeen tried to intercept. He's hit high. Play on the call. Mansell pushes the ball forward, and Bartlett takes it over the line.
Very clean grand final to date. Hopefully it will stay that way. A lot of emotion in this grand final. Two teams desperate to win. Melican gets the tap away. Marnie in there against the tide. Proud one holding the ball, but umpire Kinnear in for the bounce. 3 points plays 2. The worried face of Tiger coach Graham Corns. At the bounce on the half-forward line. Up goes High. Hines got it out. Geneva looks for the run. Here's a chance for Genza. Still can't do it. He's offline again. He's had 2 shots at the aluminium for the result of 2 points. Porter 4, the Bays are 2.
And the same player kicked 4 goals from a wing last week, Simon Tregenza, so maybe grand final nerves also are tugging at his heartstrings.
Ross Gibbs kicks to the outer side. Marshall up high, couldn't complete the mark, and the ball out of play right by the 50-metre line. We've had 10.5 minutes of the 1990 grand final. A crowd in excess of 50,000 people here. You're watching it live on Nine's Wide World of Sports. Seabohm from behind, opposed to Darren Smith. Going through his Mark Williams. The handball is an educated one over the top to Marnie. He's not over endowed with pace. He goes towards goal. Another point on the board. So Port Adelaide have 5 points, Glenelg 2, and we've had nearly 11 minutes of football.
To be brutally honest, the best Wayne Marnie could have hoped was a point then from the angle he shot from. On his non-preferred foot, his left foot, he just quickly got the ball and kicked it. And as I said, the point was the best possible result that the Port Adelaide side could have hoped for.
Bit of by-play there by Ross Gibbs, who wanted Marnie to give him the ball back. I could just imagine that happening. The shuffle is on, and Simons receives the pass. Gets a lead out at centre wing. Out here's Thompson over the top. Johnson, he's lost the football. Coming back now, Jamison. Jamison looks for a runner, can't find one. Drives in long. Half-forward line. Christie's up there, gets the set. Can't get it. Back in there is Fiachi as well. Got time to have a look. Centre field, he's got Williams going towards Smith on the half-forward line. Back is Marshall. Marshall against Geneva, needs support. Ball threw out a handball in hope. Quickly, it's now Jabber across to Hutton. Hutton inside the half-forward line. In goes Marnie. Dropped the football. Geneva snaps towards goal. Hodges! Well, he had 2 options. He could have shepherded the ball through. He chose the latter to take the mark. And the 1990 Magarey medalist gets goal 1 on the board.
I felt for Chris Duthie then, the Glenelg full back. He was in no man's land. He was just a little in front of the boy Hodges as he took the mark. And let's be honest about it, the kick by Geneva wasn't really meant for Hodges. He just got the ball and kicked it in general direction of goal. Hodges stood his ground well, took the mark, and more importantly, finished it off with a goal. Here's the replay. Geneva just kicked it, didn't know where it was going in the full sense of the word. But Hodges was there, took the mark, and kicked the goal.
Port Adelaide with a 9-point advantage. Umpire Mark Mackey with the football. It will be Melican from right of screen, opposed to Russell Johnston, the Magpie captain. Nice high bounce. Another ruckman managed to get a hand to the ball. Putting it up high is Abernathy, actually playing on the ball. So ducks and drakes being played by both coaches. We haven't seen Abba play on the ball for a number of weeks. He's been frustrated by a slight back injury. And now the veteran. In fact, Greg Phillips won't take it. It'll go back to Russell Johnston. Kick number 3. For the Port Adelaide skipper, it's a floating kick forward. Oh, Marnie. Front position, took it well on his chest, low to ground. We'll be kicking from 50 metres. Had the front position. Gibbs was right there.
Marnie started well, Kim. He's providing a bit of body strength and also now shooting for goal. It was a good move for Port Adelaide.
Well, we mentioned pre-match Ian. He certainly likes a scrap. He's as tough as they come. Had a bit of knee trouble in recent weeks. Well, this season, I should say. It hasn't affected his kicking. Port Adelaide get their second.
And what a great goal from Wayne Marnie. Not renowned for his long kicking of the ball, but took a strong mark and went back, thought about it. Here's the pass on again. Marnie stood his ground well here. Held the mark, and Ross Gibbs right on his hammer and tack. But Wayne Marnie, as I said before, not a long kick with the ball normally, was equal to the task this time. Split the centre of that kick, and a great goal of Port Adelaide. We've had 7 shots for goal in 13 minutes of football.
Yes, Graham, and they've got a 15-point advantage at the bounce. It's Melican against Johnson. Line ball, that one. Melican has another swipe. Still can't get it. Going through there was Liptak up towards the half-forward line. Jamison hooks in high. One-on-one. Harris, Fidge. Fidge in front. Harris thumps clear. Bays look for runner. Mansell against the tide. Jamison with a chance. Could bounce one. Goes! Oh, what a goal!
Well, I've got to say the move of Rod Jamison to a half-forward flank has certainly paid off for coach Graham Corns. He's had many touches in this first quarter. Hasn't been easy in the Bay forward line, but Jamison, roaming through the play on that occasion, picked up the ball, a quick left foot kick, It's bounced through, honestly. It could have been touched 3 times, you would swear, by either player, George Fiarchi or Phelps. It wasn't to be. And a top goal to the Bays, their first for the game, and now they're creeping closer to Port Adelaide with that 6-pointer.
The margin reduced to 9 points once more as Rick Kinnear puts ball to ground. Melican leaping early into Johnston, but he won the tap. Marshall gets the kick away around his body, but once more there is Fiarchi, and that could be 50. And that is the first 50-metre penalty of the game. And Fiarchi just letting Jamison know all about that. In fact, it was Christie. Now, the opponents of George Fiarchi are getting drawn into the square. George is staying back and he's picking up a number of possessions. That's kick number 4 from the back pocket. Duthie front position, couldn't take it. Hodges was pushed out of it. Liptak there for the crumbs. He's thrown to the ground. In there once more is McDermott. He's tackled by Marnie, and we'll have a bounce once more as young Gavin Wanganeen, number 3 for the Magpies, asked Mark Mackey the question. 16 minutes into the first term. 1-2 plays 2-5. The advantage to Port Adelaide. It's tapped straight down to Salisbury. The ball clamped to his chest, and we'll have a take 2. As Mackey will bounce again.
Only 30 metres out in front of the Port Adelaide goal. 16 minutes into the final. Melican hooks it back, but he hooked it to Geneva. Can't get it clear. He's still got the football on the bottom of the pack. And the umpire will come and ball it up same spot. 2-5 plays 1-2. Live Football Park Stadium. The bounce. Once again, it's Melican who taps it further afield this time. A chance for the Bays to clear through Leptak. Between the 3 of them, they couldn't get it clear. Out goes Bartlett, took the leather with him. A throw in left half-forward flank.
Just working out a tactic by Jack Cale, Port Adelaide coach. It appears that Abernathy's tagging Marshall. If not tagging, at least playing in the centre, which means Stephen Williams is ruck roving.
Well, David Marshall in the second semi-final gave Stephen Williams an absolute hiding. In fact, he beat 4 opponents as he punches the ball forward out towards Seabohm. He goes through the back door to McDermott. The handle wasn't a good one to Melican. The big ruckman was just standing flat-footed. Players going through solidly, a high tackle. And we're yet to see any real rough play at the moment as Marnie and Salisbury have a few words. And if there's to be a scrap, I would bet my bottom dollar those 2 players will be involved. Kick number 3 for Wayne Marnie. Darren Smith provides a half-hearted lead across the half-forward line. That's ignored. Marnie taking plenty of time. Gibbs is there to cut off the lead. Oh, Hodges, a chance here. Big chance over his head. Gibbs picks up the crumbs. Kicks around his body casually. Marnie back out there. Not taking it was Hutton. The crumbs are picked up by McDermott. He puts it out high. Fiarchi there once more. So too Hallahan. But the boundary line wins out. 17.5 minutes into the first term.
Gee, the Bay forward line is still open. Only 2 players forward of centre for the Bays. That's Harris, of course, and Fidge at the throw-in. On their lonesome back there. At the throw-in will be Melican against Smith. Used his body well, couldn't get the football out. In there goes Murphy. He's lost it as well. They go in towards the half-forward line against the tide. Oh, great mark, Brett Dean. Showed a lot of courage.
Great courage, Ian. Great courage by the young Brett Dean, playing on the wing today.
Seabohm gets it out to Hallahan. Lost the handle. Darren Smith with a chance. Off goes Mackenzie. Oh, great smother. Seabohm runs the gauntlet, loses the football. Darren Smith, as the bodies go in hard. Phillips tries to barge his way through. Who'd want to get in the front of him? Out they go again. Oh, it's solid football now. Hallahan has got Liptak short. And that's the way it goes. Liptak's got a chance. Quite on in the right half-forward flank. Players just getting a little toey. Caught it low to the turf. But Matthew Liptak from about 35, 40 metres out. We'll sort out who's having a brawl in a minute. Liptak set sail for goal. That's home.
Well, I guess you could say a classic Rovers goal by Liptak. The fellow Rover, Paul Hallahan, set the mark up. It was a great pass, a very cool kick under pressure by Hallahan. And the Bays worked well in the centre of the ground to set up that attack into their forward line. Great work by Hallahan, as I said. Finished up by Liptak, marking close to the ground. And better still, a long goal, a great goal. You won't see a bit of goal from Rover. Rovers don't kick long goals normally, but Liptak on that occasion certainly was up to the task.
3 points the difference, and a few blues breaking out at both ends of the ground, and it is on! It is on in the right full forward area. Gee, David Hines threw a couple of the biggest right-hand roundabouts I've ever seen in my life, and Hodges was in there, so too Duthie, and it had to happen.
Well, I cannot believe it, Kim. The goal umpire just looked at him straight in the eye and did nothing about it. He's still there watching it, but he must have seen 2 punches thrown.
You've got the most experienced goal umpire in Mostyn Rudder in South Australia. He would have seen plenty, and he will not forget.
Yes, there's no question the little book will come out, and there's the little man. Bartlett's there. Marnie has blood all over his nose. And let's not forget what's really happening out here. It's 2-2 to Glenelg, Port Adelaide 2-5, and the free kick is going the way of David Marshall, and I have no idea whatsoever what for. So the handball goes out to Ross Gibbs, well up from his back pocket, puts it in long, Fids, Ben Harris from behind, thumps it out towards Foster. He picks up the loose ball. Mansell in pursuit. Foster gets the kick away to the open spaces. Darren Smith first there. Marnie goes down again. He has blood all over his face. Smith puts it in. Hodges hit the ground. Bartlett back there. He'll go for the boundary. No, he won't. He searches for Duthie. Beautiful pirouette. The man that played for Fitzroy drives it down long. Players set themselves. Foster couldn't take it. Tregenza there, but the boundary line wins out.
Oh, Kim, it's starting to hot up. It's on in the square. Duthie and Hodges are not firm friends at the moment, I can tell you. Port by 3 points. At the throw-in, Smith. In front was Melican. Hallahan can't find it. Goes in again, but the umpire will ball it up once more. The crowd expected it. No love between these two teams, and fighting for the final flag as we know it in the 90s, or in the 20th century. Marnie again. Looks for Wanganeen, thought about it. Hodges hasn't led to date. It's 1-on-1 in the square, gives a tentative lead. Duthie's with him. Hodges under the hammer from Bartlett. They thump the ball clear. Thompson in defence. Has a chance to run it out. Hines won't get him. Kick number 5 goes up towards centre wing.
And Abernathy takes a clever mark, and you were spot on, Graham Campbell. Abernathy has the job of cutting out David Marshall. And it's not bad when you've got one of the best players in the state, Bruce Abernathy, doing a tagging job. Melican, 2, 3, 4 grabs, takes the mark. Normally feeds out the handball. All options have been covered by the Pies. And Melican puts it to the outer side. Players set themselves once more. Phillips produces the fist to punch the ball away. Northeast with his first kick of the game. Puts it out. Running at the ball strongly was Seabone. Gibbs with a big fist away. Wanganeen very quick to Marnie. Kick number 5. Finds Tregenza. They have loose players everywhere, and it's Darren Smith.
Actually, Kim, Darren Smith started off in the forward pocket, and I think that still may be on. He's playing forward pocket with Hines playing centre-half forward. Different to how they were named in the paper. Another fight.
Another fight on, and it is on well and truly as they let a few go. And Stephen Williams, well, it's not normally a feature of his game, that type of actions. Now Marnie asking the umpire for 50 metres. And in fact, Rick Kinnear has obliged, so this is a gimme goal to Darren Smith. And this may well be a case, Ian Day, of which side settles down the quickest, as Darren Smith will bang this through for his first goal.
Well, I can't believe this. I'd hate to think that Wayne Marnie had to tell Rick Kinnear the player should get pulled back 50 metres. No question in my mind. Kinnear had in his own thoughts that was the way to go. But Marnie appeared to be directing the traffic, came across, said to Kinnear, hey, what's going on here? And Darren Smith had a kick within the square, which made the goal that much easier than what would have been kicking the 35 metres on a slight angle. But Port Adelaide equal to the task, and the physical stuff's been very evident in the last 5 minutes of play.
Port Adelaide by 9 points. Be interested to know just who Rick Kinnear thought started the fight. 3-5 to 2-2 at the bounce. It's Melican for the Tigers against Johnson for the Magpies. Line ball, in goes Murphy, needs support, runs the gauntlet. Salisbury left the football behind. Wanganeen goes down. Quickly now, Geneva gives a chance to Man Mountain himself. Phillips goes for the safety of the line. Simons needs the prop. One to beat, gives it to Jamison. Check side of the centre line, goes in towards the half-forward line. Up went Christie, northeast back there. Johnson well, tumbles one in. Melican can't get there. Hutton can. Hutton looks for runners. Out wide, he's got Foster, but he plays on quickly up towards the half-forward line. Thompson goes for the thump. Marnie can't find it. Hallahan in, slips it to Simons. On the left leg, goes towards centre wing, FAD. Free after disposal, and the free kick will be taken by Marshall at centre wing.
Not a lot in that passage of play. I think umpire Mark Mackey just flexing his muscles, courtesy of the whistle as the ball's put down to Johnston. That was a high tackle. Play on the call. I thought Johnson deserved a free kick. Liptak pushes it forward. Great desperation by Rezonico. Out the back door. He finds Biaggi. Goes across goal. This could be dangerous. Brett Dean swoops on it. The handball. Centre field. The Fidge has two to beat. Crash through the middle. Too high. Free kick for John Fidge.
It wasn't really a top hand pass, but then again it set the free kick up by Liptak. So therefore Hodges is, so not Hodges, but Fidge has received a free kick. Probably he wouldn't have got it if the ball had gone to him. So this could be a bonus goal for the Tigers.
Graham Corns making a move. Ross Gibbs off the ground. Lyndon Bowe going to the back pocket to look after the dangerous Wayne Marnie. And really, he only had one option, John Fidge. That was to go straight through. He's not all that flash at changing directions, so he took on two. Let's see if he's victorious with a goal. He is, and John Fidge has kicked his first. Glenelg had 3-2. They trail Port 3-5.
Well, there's no question the free kick was there, but as I said, it was the hand pass from Liptak virtually that set up the chance for. Well, Doon actually got the ball across. Hodges, Fidge I should say, thought about it. Then when he got possession of the ball, went through a pack of three players, trying to make the avenue, but wasn't on. Pulled around the neck. The umpire had no option but to pay the free kick, and Fidge earned it the hard way, some might say. He wouldn't miss from there, though.
Port Adelaide by 3 points. Into time on of the first quarter. Melican, this time against Hines, who got the tap away. Taken by Marshall. Not a well-directed kick northeast. Centre half back to send Port Adelaide out of defence. That awkward kicking style screws one to the half-forward line. Melican's back there. Looks for options. Centre half back, the big fellow. Kicks long to the half-forward line. Christie charges to meet it. Good mark. No, not paid. Tackle was high. In there goes northeast again. Thumps out a long handball, but the umpire's called for a halt, and he will bounce just in the attacking division of the Bays. 3-5 to 3-2. Almost 27 minutes gone. Marvellous crowd, marvellous day.
I was going to say, Ian, I don't mind them not paying that mark to the big fellow, Christie, but they must be consistent all day. Make them earn the marks the whole 100 minutes of play.
Hines gets the tap away, but Marshall floats the ball into attack. It's 2-on-1 back there. Fidge needs a set. He's working the ball against Phillips. In comes Nigel Mansell. He can't find the football. Harris comes away with it. Drops it back towards centre. Williams shows courage. Gets the football. Checks out of centre line. Magpies into attack again through that player. The former Collingwood and Brisbane Bear players fires the ball to the half-forward line. Up there is Thompson. Thumps it away. Jamison over the top. Stephen Williams, the crumbs. Salisbury getting back in defence. Needs support. Finds it in Duthie. Likewise Bartlett. And the Bays will run it out through Lyndon Bowe.
Alan Bartlett is a much improved player as Bowe just off the interchange bench drives his side forward. It wasn't a good kick though. And little Georgie Porgy in the back pocket takes another mark. Feeds off to Foster. He drives it up to centre half forward. Melican opposed to Marnie. What a mismatch that was. The ball is thumped out wide though to the running wingman in Hutton. He searches for Hodges, who has to play the defensive play. And this time Chris Duthie wins the free kick.
The value of playing in front, Kim, stood out.
No question of that as Duthie puts the ball out wide, setting himself Melican, had to grab the crumbs himself. In there is Thompson, out towards McDermott. He's been a little bit quiet. He's a rather unobtrusive player, but what a player he is as the ball is socket off the ground. Out there towards Dean, Brett Dean. Body over the ball, has to concede ground to go to Salisbury. He kicks around his body. It's not a good kick. Straight to Hutton, in turn out towards Hines. Hines drives it in long. Bartlett is back there, so too Duthie. He applies the spoil. Hodges looking for the crumb. Setri couldn't take it the first time, has a second opportunity, and he has threaded it.
Well, can you believe it? He kicked into the man initially, Adrian Setri, playing in a forward pocket at this point in time, was able to follow the ball up. The replay shows Hodges once again manned by two players, finding it hard down there at the moment. But there's Setray kicking straight into the man, which was Simons, down from his wing. Had a second chance at it, dribbled it through, top Rovers goal, and Port Adelaide streak ahead by some 9 points. Well, hardly streaking ahead, but it's better than the three-point advantage held some 15 seconds ago.
Played 29 minutes. Could be a long quarter because we had a couple of side plays, a couple of brawls at the bounce. Umpire Mark Mackey puts it down. The Magpies by 9 points. Out goes Hines. Murphy through. Gets the football. Could be close to holding. No, umpire Kinnear in for the bounce. bounce centre field. Players seem to just settle down now after the early brawling. Big prize here, the 1990 grand final. At the bounce, favours Melican a little, got the tap away, couldn't find a player effectively. Searching for it at the bottom is Salisbury. The umpire's going to ball it up once more.
29.5 minutes into the first term, and the Magpies lead by 9 points. That breeze, which initially was favouring the southern end of Football Park, which is to right of screen, seems to have subsided slightly and is going across the ground. Perhaps it may even be swinging down to that northern end. We'll wait and see on that as Darren Mansell kicks around his body, better known as Nigel. Kicks too strong, into the goals, kicks his second.
A classic man-on-man confrontation was John Fidge won hands down against Ben Harris, and the long kick into the goal-kicking area was equal to the task. Fidge to put himself, there it is again, Liptak hangs it up. They're in the square. Fidge very strong in a man-to-man contest, as I said. Played off his opponent brilliantly, kicked the goal, no question, his second for the game, and Glenelg's fourth. What a tight contest in our hands here. Neither side shirking any issue whatsoever, and both sides relishing the tough conditions.
The Magpies by 3 points, lost the football momentarily. It's great to see the Football Park Stadium absolutely jam-packed. 4-5 plays 4-2 at the centre. It's Hines in against Melican, who's rucked all the first quarter. At the bounce, umpire Mackey taking a long time to get it down. Good bounce, however. Melican over the top, going through Mark Williams. Look for Geneva, try to give it back to northeast. Goes through left tack, 1-on-1 again up there. This one could bounce through. Fidge a chance, 3! Oh, what a dream! Popped up into his arms, he popped it through, and the Bays have hit the front in the 1990 grand final.
Well, I knew John Fidge was a good player, but not a magician. He trapped that ball unbelievably. Liptak certainly earned his inclusion in the side with his goal. He's kicking that long kick into the square. There's Harris. Great work by the magician, as I called him, Fidge. Trapped the ball, popped it through. 3 goals for the quarter. Brilliant work by John Fidge. It really is a contest between 2 full forwards today, and Fidge is winning at the moment with 3 to his name. Hodges just a solitary goal.
Back centre field, 5-2 plays 4-5, a 3-point lead to the Tigers. Hines up very high. As I mentioned, he's been drafted to the West Coast Eagles and is leaving South Australia next season. The kick forward by Simons. In there is Christie, pushes the ball forward. Liptak a chance, or Murphy taken out of it. Picked up now by Rosotico. A calculated handball out towards Abernathy as he steers that one around his body. Back there is Seabone, so too Bow. But Seabone bails out and goes for the safety of the boundary line. Should only be seconds remaining in this first quarter. Perhaps Graham Corns with his nose ahead as far as the coaching honours are concerned. Matthew Liptak, a surprise selection, hasn't played for a number of weeks since being injured mid-season. It is a very talented youngster as Setri pushes that ball over the line. And once more we'll have a throw in. John Cahill now down on the boundary line, flanked by team runner Alan Gill, who is to the left of John Cahill. Darren Smith. The tap won by Melican easily. McDermott, Bones McDermott, the skipper, out towards Seabone. Perhaps time for another score. Murphy and Phillips. Strong body work. The crumbs out towards Fiachi. First there is Bow. Picked it up well. No support. Now concedes ground back to Hallahan, who's been quiet. He drives it in long. Lip tackle. Had to... Oh, he dropped that one. Should have taken it. Well, he heard the thundering pack coming from behind and dropped what he should have taken as the siren sounds, with Glenelg leading by 3 points.
2 very evenly matched teams out there today. It's been a battle of physiques at the moment. Both sides giving no quarter and asking no quarter. And John Fidge with 3 goals at full forward so far has been the difference, not to mention Matthew Liptak's roving.
At quarter time in the grand final, the Bays 5-2, Port Adelaide 4-5.
Well, now let's go back down to the boundary with Rick Davies. Rick, that breeze appears to be favouring the southern end now, in fact the northern end.
Yes, it certainly does. It has bristed it around a little bit, but 4 goals each in that quarter. I think you can score both ends, and I don't think there's any real indication of the wind. I don't think it's going to be worth anything at all.
And Rick, Wanganeen being picked up by Salisbury and Marshall being picked up by Abernathy. Probably 2 of the most dangerous players on the ground, 1 for each side, both being tagged.
Yes, well, there's been a lot of changes. Jamieson's been very successful up forward, but the 2 moves that you mentioned, Also, I think you'll find that Glenelg, just listening to Cornsey there, he said suck it in and fan off. Whenever someone's got hold of the ball, you fan off him and run for him and use him. And I think that that's where Glenelg are sort of using the ball a lot better at this particular point of time.
Brian Cunningham looking at Port Adelaide, and Tim Ginnivan does not appear to be 100%.
No, I agree with you, Kim. He's not 100%. He's handballed off on most occasions, and Jack Cale's fairly critical of the way that Port are moving it in far too slowly. Hodges is back there, Bartlett's getting with him, and it's always 2-on-1. It's hard for the Maggies.
OK, the second term is about to get underway. It's now back to Ian Day.
The Bays by 3 points. The breeze just a little fluky, as Rick Davies told you. Not going to have a great effect on the game if it just maintains this velocity. Hines in ruck for Port Adelaide, joined by Melican. 5-2 the Tigers, 4-5 Port at the start of the second quarter. At the bounce, Melican from the left, Hines from the right. Hines gets the tap away, can't find a player. Wanganeen through. In goes Simons, tries to tunnel, ball it out. Finally it comes back here to Marshall in turn. Thompson. The Bays go forward in towards the half-forward line. Almost back there by Northeast. He's lost the football. Fiachi left it behind as well, under pressure. Slips out a blind handball. Dean looks for support. Jamison needs it as well. Hooks around the corner in towards the pocket. Harris setting himself, lost the football again. Rosonico gets it out to Phillips. The runner is Foster. Port Adelaide ought to get out of trouble. Foster through the half-back line. Liptak can't catch him. He's running easily, does it well. Drives long, up to the lead now of Tregenza. Speed to burn this lad, one to beat. Can't get round. Simons, run a long way to get that football. Puts it back, looks for Marshall, and he'll take the ball out of play.
Very well done by John Seabohm, cutting off Tregenza at the pass then. Great effort by John Seabohm, renowned for his defensive qualities, but really did make something out of nothing then.
1 minute into the second term, Melican takes front position and wins the tap down towards Hallahan. I mentioned he's been fairly quiet. Stephen Williams there, tries to flick that out to brother Mark. Wanganeen perhaps in the back, play on the call. And the Port supporters not happy about that decision. Bounce on the outer side, 5-2 plays 4-5. Well done, Scott Hodges, says the sign. Of course, leading goal kicker in South Australia, also the Magarey medalist for 1990. McDermott gets a good handball away to Hallahan. He puts it in long. Rosonico back there, had the sit, couldn't get the fly though. So too is Hines, pushing it along the ground. His lip tack too slow. Christie, the handball over the top. It goes towards Mansell. Mansell lines up the goals and then kicks it out of bounds on the full.
Once again, I think grand finalers got the better of Darren Mansell then. Had every opportunity to at least score. You can't get a goal every time you get the ball, but he should have scored. But he wasn't up to it.
Darren Mansell, nicknamed Nigel, you'll never guess why. Ben Harris, another player back from the Bears, having left Port Adelaide in the first instance, drives back towards the half-back line. Getting up there was Hines. At the back is Simons. Whips out a handball. Mansell again. Can't find it. Players battle hard for it, and the umpire will have to ball it up. At this stage, the Tigers winning the centre square. They've taken it away 7 times. To Port Adelaide's 3. At the bounce on the half-forward line for the Bays, leading by 3 points. Christie in there. Stephen Williams can't get a kick away. Foster can. Getting back on it is Melican. The big fellow didn't really want to go and get it on the full. Gives it back to Simons, concedes. Seabohm goes out wide. There's no one out there. Yes, Jamison 1-on-3. He's got Hines to beat. Does it with consummate ease. Puts it up for grabs. Christie up! And he got up and down before acceptances. But he's taken the mark at the 50-metre mark. Oh, the handball was bad. Mark Williams did brilliantly to intercept. Rosonico's going to put it out wide. It's a race out here in pace. Dean against Hutton. Left it behind. Thompson in for the Tigers. He's run into the ground. Well played by Marnie. Needs support. Ginnivan, who's having trouble kicking, goes back now to Abernethy. He drives high to the half-forward line. That's higher than longer. Setting himself is Salisbury. Wanganeen over the top. McDermott. Umpire says play on. Marnie gets it out. Hutton. Clear is Hodges. 1-on-1. Hodges has got one to beat. Hooks it around the corner. Getting back on it, however, will be Simons. The bounce favours him. Keeps it in play. Has a look and gives Melican the chance.
Big Melican should take this quite easily and does. Met solidly by Darren Smith.
Well done, Darren Smith, mate. He earned the ball, Kim.
Glenelg made a couple of crucial mistakes only moments ago, and they were very lucky not to pay dearly. Firstly, the error by Christie down in the forward pocket, and secondly, on this grandstand side, when Robbie Thompson should have socked the ball off the ground. Nevertheless, they're back into attack. Back there is North East. He tried to find Fiachi. Jamison is playing a champion's game on the half-forward flank, and he forces that ball out of play to the appreciation of the huge crowd here at the Football Park Stadium. And that is a picture of the stadium, Graham. A magnificent sight it is. In excess of 50,000 people here to see the best two sides in South Australia for 1990.
Absolutely jam-packed, Kim. I was just going to say a moment ago that the gamble by Graham Corns in playing Jamison forward of centre, lip tack on the ball, has paid off handsomely at this point in time.
So far, but we're only 4.5 minutes into the second term. Rosonico ducks for cover. Oh, an educated passage of play. The handball is good out towards Williams. He puts the ball back centre field, and Darren Smith takes a strong mark. That's his third for the game. He's keen to play on. He's on the right boot. He puts it to the open spaces. Hodges loves this situation. The ball sits high. Doothy wears him like a glove. Bartlett lends support. Dooth still over the top. In there is Brett Dean. David Hutton applies some pressure. And Rick Kinnear says, "I'll bounce, fellas," right on that 50-metre line.
Seems to me Chris Doothy is relishing playing the champion Scott Hodges today. He really is wearing him like a glove and playing the perfect defender's game so far.
At the bounce, it's Melican. Gets it out wide. A chance for Gibbs, who sat in the bunker for a while there in that first quarter. Maybe a disciplined move. Abernethy off the fingers. Returns it to the half-forward line. Getting back on it is Bartlett. Too strong. Thought about playing on. Gives a chance. Melican. Dean is clear. If he can get over that far. Simon's in support. Tregenza about to run him down. Good screening. On the left leg, he goes forward. Fidge out in front. Fidge! Brilliantly done from woe to go. The Bays with a chance. Fidge not confident from the distance. Puts it up. Simons has found the hole. Into the forward pocket. And Tony Simons can boot it from about 30 metres out.
And might I say, Tony Simons loves a goal. Well, what wingman doesn't? But Tony Simons loves gravitating down to the forward area and presenting himself for the pass coming from players upfield, and he's done it again. He's a magician.
45-degree angle, 30 metres out, ninth kick, and this will kick the Bays clear. They've got a three-point advantage. Simons to the southern end, gives it a chance, but it's never really a chance. The Bays by 4 points.
Remarkable miss. Tony Simons, you put your wages on Tony Simons from there normally, but grand final nerves, who can say what that produces?
Rosonico, short pass out towards North East. Had Tregenza short, ignores that option, puts it out to Mark Williams up far too early, and the free kick will have to go the way of Tony Simons, who is having an absolute epic battle on that outer side with Simon Tregenza. The ball is put up towards centre half forward. Phillips, he lost the plot there for a while, lost his position. Dean couldn't take it. Hutton and Dean are having a good battle, and on that occasion it is a dead heat. So we'll have a bounce inside 50. 7 minutes into the second term. 5-3 Glenelg, 33. Port Adelaide 4-5, 29.
And Kim, it's painfully obvious when Tim Ginnivan gets the ball, he doesn't want to kick it. He tries to hand pass off to a player going past on every occasion.
Williams there, the tap won by Christie. It goes down to McDermott. Hallahan, Christie picks it up again. The kick is smothered off the boot. Fiachi back there, so too Fidge. Forgot about the football and paid the penalty. Harris too slow. He froze. Liptak is there. Play on the call. And very fortunate Port Adelaide.
Certainly could have been holding the ball the way I saw it. He seemed to fall on it and wasn't making a real attempt to get rid of it. There it is again. Perhaps people might argue the player laying over the top, Jamison, gave him no chance. Nonetheless, the onus is on the player laying over the ball to make some attempt to ferret the ball out, and he did not do that.
20 metres out in front of the Bay goal. Port Adelaide under stress again. Hooked back by Christie. Jamison around the corner, but he's just offline. Another point to the Bays, wasting opportunities. They move now on to 5-4. Port is 4-5, and we're 8 minutes into the second quarter.
And a very lively half forward is Rod Jamison today.
Rosonico to bring the ball back into play once more. Opts for that outer side. It's a lovely looking kick, plenty of distance. The back of the pack, Simons, he's playing a great game. Pirouette's out of trouble now. We saw Mansell out there. Fiachi closing. It's close to the boundary line. In fact, he left it behind. George says thanks very much. Drops out a left foot pass and finds Tregenza. Poor play by Mansell. The handball over the top to Wanganeen. They need this youngster to get into the game. He'll be shepherded by Jennifer. Salisbury in pursuit. Little Wanga. Centre through the ground he goes. Gibbs back there. Plays the ball in front nicely, ever so calm, but that is an awful kick to find Foster. He puts it back where it came from. Hodges sets himself. Duthie from behind. Smith took it brilliantly. The handball back to Hodges. It should sit. He has one, and he blew it.
Well, how embarrassing for Scott Hodges. Chris Duthie took off after him, not thinking in his mind I wouldn't think he'd get to him, but he did. And he harassed, if you like, Scott Hodges into making a mistake.
Melican gives him the lead out wide. It's 2-on-1 out there. That's got to be a free kick. Clumsy tackle by the Port Adelaide defence, and Melican will kick clear. Gets the lead from Simons. He's going over that player's head. Kicks long, back up towards centre wing. In there is Murphy. Strong mark. Murphy at centre wing. Back from North Melbourne. Murphy now goes to the half-forward line. Marshall's up there, needs a set. Try to get around. He's got a chance if he can get it back to Christie. Oh, brilliant stuff. Marshall in looking now for Fidge. With him there is Harrison. He goes for the safety of the line and puts it out in the left full forward pocket. A throw in about 5 metres around. Marshall has got 13 touches, 9 minutes into the second quarter, and he's got a tag on him. A throw in. Christie. Hines. Murphy waits back. North East will probably concede the point. Might not have conceded it, but it was one in any case. The Bays 5-5, Port 4-6.
I must say the pressure of this game makes every point important, and the Bays forced a point then, but that's always a handy score. That extra behind probably comes from just a flurry in front of the square.
10 minutes into the second term, Glenelg leading by 5 points. Brett Dean up high, picked up brilliantly by Liptak. Back towards Salisbury, feeds out to Marshall. Kick number 9. He held back on that, looking for Fidge. Held his ground, couldn't take the mark. Picking up the crumbs is Hallahan. He goes towards goal. The kick is inaccurate. Christie was back there, so too North East. But we'll have a throw in the right forward pocket, southern end of Football Park.
No doubt in my mind that the Bay Little Men, or the Tiger Little Men, are winning the day at this point in time.
Well, they need a quick tap and a snap while they have it down there. There's the tap. It was won by Hines. It went straight down to McDermott, though. There's the snap just offline. There is 1 goal the difference as we approach the 11-minute mark.
The Bays are playing this very well at the kick-off. They fan right out, don't leave any open spaces. Port Adelaide trying to play a shuffle, but the Bays won't let them. Kick in this time by Rosonico. It's uncertain where to kick. This is a good move by Port Adelaide. Rosonico comes grandstand side. Once again, Hines at the back of the pack. Here's a chance now. Tregenza, he's got one to beat. Out goes Salisbury. Tregenza now gives a chance. Hodges up towards the full forward. Hodges in front. Soccer's off the ground, but he's not on target. 1 point only. And of course, Scotty Hodges with 5 goals to break the all-time South Australian record.
Well, very alert kick off the ground by Hodges anyhow to get him a point. And really is a great tussle up there. At this point in time, Chris Duthie holds the edge over the champion, Scott Hodges.
Short pass into Tony Simons, fast emerging as perhaps one of the best players on the ground. The kick goes out to Jamieson, who'd certainly be in that category. Kick number 10 coming up. Normally plays either on a halfback flank, a little bit on the wing earlier in this season. Big leap from Murphy to punch that ball out of play. So Murphy and Phillips, the 2 number 20s, having an epic battle. It's the Tigers leading by 5 points, and that breeze, in my opinion, has definitely swung to left of screen, which is the northern end. Hines, classic leap. Gets the handball down. Murphy in there fighting hard. So too Mark Williams, renowned for being at the bottom of packs. And what a champion he's been over the years.
Certainly has, Kim, and working in tandem today with his brother Stephen Williams. Jack Carl obviously hoping that the brothers can work together well as a ruck-roving duo.
Front position, Christie won the tap down to Liptak, who perhaps is winning the roving honours as far as his opponent Tim Ginniver is concerned. As we mentioned, Liptak, he was one of 4 or 5 players that Glenelg had the option of choosing from, as Jamieson and Wanganeen have a few words. Nothing in that though. Hines jumping the highest. McDermott's been a little bit quiet. Stolen sheer strength by Mark Williams. And just as the ball works its way free, Mark Mackey will bounce once more.
I guess you'd say that McDermott is playing as a ruck rover today. Well, you've got to say that. He's been roving other weeks. Graham Corns has that way of throwing his people around. You're not quite sure if they're roving, ruck roving or whatever. It's playing in the middle even. And it sometimes confuses the opposition.
The Tigers by 5 points. Hallahan higher than longer. Christie in there. Comes out with a football. Can't get a handball away. Close to the line and out of play once more. You can see Adelaide in 1998 on the ground there on the grass. That's, of course, the Commonwealth Games. South Australia looking to be chosen as the city. Marnie floats one around the corner. Seabone's going to get the set. With him is Rosonico. Well done, Seabone. Too steady, puts it out wide for Marshall. After him is Abernethy, won't get there. Marshall, centre wing, attack side. Off goes Fidge into the pocket. Fidge is going to get a chance. Harris won't get there. Fidge again. Oh, yes, Harris did. Well done, big fellow, to get there and thump the ball out of play.
I just question that option, though, Ian, with John Fidge leading right away in that right forward pocket. It's virtually impossible to goal from that angle, and perhaps he's better darting back and the ball being going up the centre corridor.
Strength is his key. He's not a long kick accurately, as we said before. Hallahan thought about it. Gives it back now to Marshall. Marshall puts it up for Fidge. Fidge up. Can't bring it down. Jamison can't find it. Through goes Murphy. Oh, someone at the bottom of the pack. Wanganeen cops a high one, and he'll get the free kick inside the half-back line. It's reported that Wanganeen has been given $200,000 for 3 years to go to Essendon next year. As Fiachi bolts off back towards the half-forward line, thumped away by Christie. Here's a chance. Ginniver's got to kick that one. Floats it out in front of Hodges. With him there is Duthie. Stephen Williams in on the scene as well. Williams will need support from there. Bartlett back in defence. They pile up, and umpire Kinnear will come in for the bounce.
Every time Scott Hodges goes for the ball, great excitement hovers around the stadium, but he just can't get it at this point in time. And Chris Duthy's doing a marvellous job at fullback.
He's also being given great support by Alan Bartlett. The ball comes down to the man we're talking about in Duthie. He gets the handle in the direction of McDermott. He won't deviate as he pounces on the ball. Tried to extract it from the pack. Ginniver in there trying to do likewise, and that is holding the ball. And I thought he was having a fair dinkum dip at that.
Oh, that was not a good decision by Rick. To me, if anything, it looked a bit high.
That kick, a rather different type of kick, but Ross Gibbs is known for being rather unpredictable. And he gave poor Chris Mellican no opportunity whatsoever.
Could we say justice was done? But the free kick wasn't there, so it went out of bounds almost by will.
Perhaps so at the 16-minute mark. Mellican won the tap and went straight down to Ginniver. He fed off towards Wanganeen. Now Hodges from behind this time. He leaps. There's Bartlett there once more to apply the spoil. Gibbs chips in for the crumbs. Close to the boundary line. Stephen Williams keeps it in play. It hits the legs of Alan Bartlett and he touches down over the boundary line. 5-6 Glenelg. Port Adelaide 4-7.
Once again, we've seen the Bays, or the Tigers, having most of the play, and yet they only lead by 5 points. Darren Smith in there. Mellican looking for someone to set the ball off to. Back in defence is Thompson. Slips it out to Gibbs. Floats that one out on the full. It'll be awfully close. Marnie there. Northeast at the back. And thump the ball out of play, but it'll be a throw.
And you mentioned that there's not much in this game, yet Glenelg appear to have the majority of the football. This happened in the second semi-final when the Tigers were victorious by 11 points, and it's adopting the same pattern today, but perhaps that's credit to the pressure type of football that the Magpies play.
No question about that at all. Seabone. Dean lost it with his hands. The tackle looks to be a little high. The umpire's going to ball that one up. Stephen Williams not happy at all. Graham Campbell.
To be fair to Rick Kinnear, I just do think he was unsighted as Dean got tagged around the head then. He was sort of looking the other way, so he chose the easy way out, the bounce
I think
up.
Stephen Williams wanted holding the ball. Marshall hooks around the corner, out towards centre wing. Jamison's going to be first there, but there's no ball. Yes, there is a play. He keeps it in play. Hutton for Port Adelaide. Got Salisbury to beat. Back towards the half-back line. McDermott with courage. This time he's grabbed high, and the umpire will play that one check side of the centre line. The Bay skipper.
Well, he certainly couldn't miss that, Necker, and that was there for all to see. 100,000 people saw that, literally.
Only 5 kicks, but the Tiger captain is better known for the number of handballs he gives out than the number of kicks. Christie up. Oh, good mark, Hines, and he'll send Port Adelaide out of defence again.
David Hines just losing his footing. The handball goes out to Northeast. There's that awkward kicking style. Plenty of distance, though. Gibbs up too early, and he's been penalised. The free kick will go the way of Tim Ginniver. And listen to the Port Adelaide supporters. They think they're getting a rough deal at this stage. The kick out towards Hodges. Duthie from behind. There's the spoil. Just that time. Thompson. Hodges in there fighting hard. And there's the push in the back. And this has been a battle royal between Chris Duthie and Scott Hodges.
Well, I guess it was there technically, but both players were falling to the ground, and Chris Duthie, fractionally behind his opponent, paid the penalty for being in that position. And Scott Hodges now gets a chance to kick his second goal.
Scott Hodges has 1 goal, kicking from about perhaps 40 metres out. Needs 4 more goals to have the South Australian goal-kicking record, and that's his second.
Well, I guess most and sundry here at Football Park thought Scott Hodges would kick that goal, but it wasn't easy, believe you me. The pressure of 53,000 people watching and going back kicking from a slight angle is not easy at all. There he is, reproducing that free kick, I guess you could say. It was there fractionally. Chris Duthie wouldn't be happy about it, but the free kick was paid, and more importantly, Hodges split the centre with a magnificent kick. Not easy, he made it look so.
Port Adelaide by a point. It took 18 minutes for the first goal in the second quarter. Murphy goes back inboard. McDermott gets run down. Here's a chance. Mansell on his left leg. Hooks in towards the pocket. Getting back on his fidge. With him is Harris. Strength against strength. Harris gives it away. Rosonico. Well played there by Northeasters. Rosonico boots the ball back towards the half-back line. Off the half-back line, they're going to let Tregenza go. Kicks to the half-forward line. Seabone's there. Smith out in front. Through goes, oh, this is now Setri. Setri kicks in long, getting back on it is Hodges! Oh gee, a lot of shepherding going on there. A Port Adelaide player down, but he gets up, provided the shepherd, and Hodges has got a chance from 30 metres out.
And Bartlett was more content with watching Mark Williams then, and he forgot all about Hodges, who kept his eyes on the football.
Hodges seldom misses, especially from this distance. 30 metres out, dead in front. Wind assisted. Hodges has got 3.
Sign of a class player, a man that can take a lot of duress and punishment and still hang in there, as Scott Hodges has done so far. I said earlier that possibly Chris Duthie would be fractionally in front of the champion full forward, but not now. He's come back with 2 goals in 2 minutes. One from a free kick that could be questioned, the second from a great mark running backwards, and a great effort by Mark Williams to keep Alan Bartlett away from the contest.
The Magpies leading by 7 points. Both full forwards had 3 goals, 1 apiece, as Ginniver gets out a very slick handball to Wanganeen. Down towards Williams. Bartlett underneath it. Williams first to recover. He trips over. Play on the call. Desperation stakes as the ball hits the ground. The handball goes back out towards Duthie. Hodges fighting for his side, fighting for his life. He's ridden into the ground. Back in there is Setri. And just as Alan Bartlett wins the football, Rick Kinnear decides to blow the whistle. We'll have a bounce once more as Hallahan is about to leave the ground, and Nicholas Chigwidden, who set the Tigers alight in the second semi-final, enters the arena. Melican wins the tap, goes down towards Liptak. He couldn't control it, and the ball is out of play once more. Free kicks at the 21-minute mark of this second term. There's Nicholas Chigwidden, number 21 for the Tigers. The Tigers have 9 free kicks, Port Adelaide 6, and the Pies lead by 7 points. McDermott needs to lift the kick forward out towards Marshall. Phillips is there also, so too Hines. No one can control it. The big man gets the football, tried to find Abernathy. He's taken to the ground, and we'll have a bounce once more.
An important time for the Tigers. Port Adelaide starting to get on top. The breeze at their backs getting just a little stronger. Between now and half-time will be critical. Seabone back in defence. Hooks one around the corner. Floats it out towards centre wing. And it's still in play. Tregenza, escapes the tackle there of Simons. Goes with kick number 8 up towards the half-forward line. Williams! Mark Williams stood his ground. Bartlett just flailed, couldn't find the leather. And at the second grab, the veteran took the mark about 45 metres out.
The great value of being in front was epitomised by Mark Williams and stood his ground well. Alan Bartlett just had the one hand up trying to get it away. Not to be.
5 kicks, 4 handballs. Not known for his long kicking. Gives it a chance. That's a nice looking kick. That is home.
Oh, what a great goal to Mark Williams. What a team lifter. He takes the mark 50 metres out. It doesn't mean it's got to be kicked from there, but by gee, he did it with some ease, really. It went through post high, and a great mark, and equally important, a great goal by Mark Williams. Playing well in the forward pocket. Has done some good work apart from getting the ball, getting in the road of people, trying to take after champion Scott Hodges, has been his forte down there, does it well, and now he's responsible for another goal.
The Magpie machine slips into another gear. They lead by 13 points as Marnie puts it out towards Wanganeen. Forward they go once more, assisted by the breeze. Hodges back there, so too Bartlett, Duthie, and free kick to Hodges. No, the other way in fact. Well, there were players going down left, right and centre, and Scott Hodges is down at the moment, and that doesn't look good.
And Kim, what about the kick by Gavin Wangan? He's only about 5 foot nothing. Kicked the ball a virtual mile.
Yes, as I mentioned, that breeze has swung around. Let's have a look at what happened to Hodges. Duthie came in and Bartlett fell on the legs of Scott Hodges, and let's hope he's okay. He's had a magnificent season.
How did Alan Bartlett get a free kick then? Watching the replay.
No, the next one, I think the next one through was a push in the back, Graham. He was certainly paid a push in the back, although at first I thought Mark Mackey had given it to Hodges. But this would be tragic if Hodges was to go off. As we know, he's only got 2 more goals to break Rick Davies' record. We'll have a look at it again. He got up very early. Over the top went Marshall, and the umpire indicates was a point, but Hodges is up on his feet. Very proppy, but that's great news for the Magpies.
Well, that's no point. The applause is for Scott Hodges. He's back onto his feet, but he is very proppy. Now the Tigers play on, so there was no point. It's still 36 points to 49, a 13-point advantage as Simons puts the ball over towards Gibbs, trying to draw the player. Eventually gets it back to Simons in the old 1-2. He runs into a lot of trouble, but that is a brilliantly executed hand pass to find Seabohm. He puts it out to Jamison. He's had 10 kicks off his half-forward flank. He's been a little bit quiet this term, and Scott Hodges, and that is a tragedy, is being helped off the ground. And as Ian Day mentioned, he needed 2 more goals for a South Australian goal-kicking record. It's currently held by Rick Davies with 151. Hodges has 150, and that is nothing short of a tragedy, and that is a very sad sight to see.
And totally an accident too, I might add, quickly.
Phelps onto the scene. Marnie flips out the handball to Wanganeen, who's coming into the game strongly. Hooks around the corner, but the umpire said the ball was out of play. Is the unfortunate Hodges limps from the arena to the applause of the crowd. A wonderful sportsman, a marvellous footballer. At the throw-in, half-forward right flank, the Bays in attack, down by 13 points. A goal would be very handy as we hit time on. Thump towards the half-forward line. Fiacci taken off the football. Lip tack. Whoop. The tackle was a little high on McDermott. He ducked his chutney into it, but the umpire accommodated. McDermott from the half-forward line puts it up, out steams Fidge. Off the fingers, Chigwedden through with a pace. Well done with Rosonico. Fidge around the corner, hooks it back there, looking for it is Murphy! Oh, what a take! What a great mark. He seemed to be centimetres short. The in-your rubber arms went out, and that's a great mark, 20 metres out on a 45-degree angle.
You have to say a slips catch out, Ian. He's running backwards with the play and was equal to the task of putting the hands out, more importantly, taking a clean grasp of the ball.
Michael Murphy, kick number 2, yet to kick a goal, and he has got it!
Oh, what a game on our hands here today. Magnificent work by Mike Murphy on that occasion. A long kick in the general direction of goal, and all of a sudden, running backwards was Murphy. There's Fitz picking up the ball that actually found that outstretched hand, the outstretched hands of Murphy, bringing it back into play. Magnificent mark. You won't see better than that. Running backwards, didn't know what was coming towards him, but kept his eyes on the ball. As I said before, got a clean touch of it and held on to it. Great effort.
We are 2 minutes into time on, and the Magpies lead by 7 points. The ball back down towards Bartlett. Ginniver there. Quick handball to Setri. Shrugs the tackle. Oh, an unprotected goal. It's rolling, rolling. It's the quick reply to the Pies.
Well, what a game. As I said a moment ago, first one side scores and the other replies. And it would appear Port kicking with the breeze this quarter. They've got their tails up. They've certainly shaken off the lethargy they had earlier in the piece. And that goal by Setri just had to be seen to be believed. It just kept going. And nobody in the goal square. I guess one of the sins of football is leaving the goal square unprotected, but you've got to follow opponents downfield. That's what happened on this occasion. Setri got the ball, kicked it, and it's rolled through. That's Port's 8th goal, and they streak away to a 13-point lead.
Setri boots his second, 8-7 plays 6-6, 28 minutes gone. Malacan thumped away, however, by Hines. Thompson throw. The umpire's going to give a free kick now to Wanganeen. What a quarter this lad's had. Kicks long, out comes Phelps, over the top Duthie. Back in defence, it's Salisbury. Lost the football, working hard for it as Bartlett puts it out, but only as far as Hutton. Caught on the left leg, wobbles round. Smith sets himself at the back at Setri again. Hawks it, I think he's got another one. Brilliantly done. Goal number 3, and Port Adelaide kick clear 9-7 to 6-6 in the 90 grand final.
Absolutely miracle goal by Adrian Setri. Named on the bench today. In the play most of the first quarter, but that goal had to be seen to be believed. Hutton brought the ball back beautifully. An intelligent kick into the square. And there they were, flying for the high ball, and Setri from nowhere, left foot to the ball, popped it through, typical Rovers goal. Had to be seen to be believed, but it was there. And 2 goals in a minute by Setri has changed the pattern of play.
The Magpie side is alight, so too are their supporters. Setri's kicked 3 goals from 4 kicks as Williams puts his side forward again. Hutton, the first player there, but he went minus the football. Now he recovers. The short pass into Stephen Williams. We've had 29 minutes. He goes towards goal. It's unprotected again, and they kicked another one. Williams has kicked his first on Nine's Wade World of Sports.
I would estimate that's 3 goals in about 45 seconds of football, actual football time. Miraculous stuff by Port Adelaide. They certainly have radar as far as the goals are concerned. First Setri and then Stephen Williams, as I said before, playing as a ruck rover off the half-forward flank today instead of his customary role in the middle of the ground. That's been taken up by Bruce Abernathy in a type of shattering role on David Marshall. And Stephen Williams, a magnificent goal. Unbelievable.
The Magpies open up a 25-point lead, close to half-time. What a great 5 minutes of football. Melican lifts. And again, the Bays need a goal. Chigwidden a chance. Misses Dean. He'll need to recover this one. Gives it back now to McDermott around the corner. Out Steve Liptak. Oh, the siren has sounded. Kick stands. And Matthew Liptak from about 35 out. Not a strong kick at all. He should make the distance, but a most important kick for the Bays. Down by 25 points.
Reflecting for a moment, and he kicked a long goal in the first quarter, Liptak.
And then almost in a state of shock, and he has missed. A point only. And at quarter time, or at half time, it's Port Adelaide by 24 points.
And that goal certainly would have been handy for the Tigers. Wasn't to be, though. Liptak had the opportunity after the siren, but it wasn't on. 1 point only, and we come in with Glenelg 6-7-43, trailing Port 10-7-67. Oh, what a quarter that was for Port Adelaide. They've come back from the dead.
Certainly have, and there's the big man, the centre-half back, Greg Phillips. But at half-time, it is Glenelg, 6-7-43, trailing Port Adelaide, 10-7-67. Stick around. We'll be back with the half-time entertainment right after this break.
Adelaide players in their side.
Well, Port Adelaide early were a bit lucky, or a bit unlucky. They're Rover. I thought number 2, he should have kicked a couple of goals. They're pretty easy sort of shots for Rover. I thought Mark Williams was sensational when he went to full forward and shepherded off that mark for Scott Hodges and then involved in a goal himself. I thought Hines, as you said, took a bit of control, and that little Rover, number 19, came on and, 3 goals out of 4 kicks? You can't ask for more than that.
It's not a bad strike rate, and you mentioned David Hines, and he's heading your way. He's heading west next season, and will be playing for the Eagles.
Yeah, I heard that. I heard that the other day that he signed up with the Eagles. I wish him luck. He seems to have liked the work, though. I thought number 3, as you said too, was a good player for them, Kim.
Well, Gavin Wanganeen, he has actually signed with Essendon. He'll be going across the border next year for a reported $200,000 over the next 3 years. Not bad for playing the best game in the world, I would say. Australian rules football, and you get paid for it. Brian Cunningham is also down on the boundary, a former champion Magpie player. Brian, any more information on the injured players?
Scott Hodges is actually out on the ground at the moment, Kim. I don't know whether you picked it up in camera or not, but he's out there. He's running around. The big cheer from the Magpie supporters gave that away as soon as he came down the race. So good news for Magpie supporters there. Russell Johnson, as I said before, I don't think he'll take much part in this game. Again, he's hobbling around, but good news about Hodges.
Well, it's an interesting situation. We'll now go back to our commentator. Thank you very much, Malcolm Brown. It's now back to Ian Day.
Second half of the 1990 grand final. Port Adelaide with a handy 24-point lead. They were down 3 at quarter time. Big turnaround, especially in that last 10 minutes, as the boys have told you. The Bays to kick with a breeze in this quarter. I do believe it's become a factor, and only time will tell whether the Bays can bridge that 24-point gap and get sufficient space for Port Adelaide to kick with it in the last quarter. Umpire Mark Mackey holds the ball aloft. The last half of football in 1990, Port Adelaide 10-7, the Tigers 6-7 at the bounce. Melican against Hines. Hines gets the tap away. Chigwidden floats a kick towards the half-forward line. Christie gets a bad one. Mansell tries to get it out towards centre wing, but it's Hutton who takes it away for Port Adelaide. Kicks up towards, Gibbs, top mark. Strength on strength there against Setri. the player that kicked those 3 goals in about 5 minutes. But Gibbs relieves the pressure with kick number 8. Back towards centre field. Up there is Hines. He's lifted since Johnson's gone off the track. It appears that Russell Johnson's in strife, may not play again this season, that is. Phillips puts it up towards the half-forward line. Smith at the back. In there is Marshall. Can't get it out. And the umpire will come and bounce on the half-forward line for Port Adelaide.
There's no question Russell Johnson won't take any more part in this game, I wouldn't think. He reluctantly came off from the huddle out in the centre of the ground just after the half-time break and is on the bench at the moment.
The Magpies lead by 24 points as Darren Smith tried to take the football from the bounce. Players jump on top of each other, and Mark Mackey will relieve the congestion, officiating in his first grand final, along with Rick Kinnear, one of South Australia's most experienced umpires. Seabohm, front position, tried to thump it forward, did so successfully, crashing his way through his Brett Dean, gave it to Salisbury. I don't think Salisbury really wanted it. He just managed to get it away. Now over the top goes Simons, looking for Dean. That was good play. Gets the kick away. Liptak sets himself. He had the spoil, recovers quickly. Thought about the handball, then kicks in a wobbly old kick. Mansell was there, Fidge there, pushed out of it. Play on the call. And as we look at Russell Johnston, and by gee, hasn't he had some bad luck over the years?
Certainly has missed a grand final because he got reported some 3 years ago. Just reflecting there, Scott Hodges is certainly on the ground now. It remains to be seen whether he can really compete.
Foster hooks around the corner, only as far as Simons, who has a flying shot. But gee, that's high, wide, not very handsome at all. And Tony Simons very disappointed.
And Ian, he had time to steady. He's not a natural left footer, and I thought perhaps he should have used the right boot.
Rosonico from the back pocket edges the ball out towards the half back line. Christie sets himself, can't take that one. Quickly coming away now is Foster from the half back line. Seabohm in, used his body well. Wanganeen in the back will get a free kick. Check side of centre wing.
Still being tagged by Scott Salisbury as Gavin Wanganeen, Ian.
Got away a bit late in that last quarter, Graham. Wanganeen with kick number 6 over towards the half forward line. Seabohm underneath the football, can't bring it down. In there was Setri. Abernethy goes out, gets a free kick for hanging on to put the Magpies into attack. Abba from check side of the centre line, up towards the half forward line. Seabohm again, Smith over the top. Gibbs read it well, jammed it onto his boot. Kicks high, back to half forward line. Phillips at the back, thumps it away. Fiarchi against Mansell. Well played. Here's a chance now. Chigwedden hooks it around the corner. Not a good kick at all. Out goes Rosonico, but he takes the ball across the line for a throw-in.
Yeah, that was a poor kick by Nicholas Chigwedden. He was a live wire. He set the Tigers alight in the second semi-final, but playing far too short in that passage of play. Throw in on the outer side, 3 minutes into the third term of the 1990 grand final. The action on Nine's Wide World of Sports as McDermott, the skipper, takes it for the Tigers, puts it up high. It's a floating kick. Fidge sets himself. He was the meat in the sandwich, and thump goes Benny Harris, punches it down. The crumbs have been picked up and fed out towards the running player in Foster. Front position is Christie, dropped what he should have taken. Picking it up out there is Dean. Brett Dean gets a wobbly one forward. Fidge sets himself again. Harris has lifted his game. Fiarchi takes the crumbs and breaks away little George. The crowd love him, but his kick isn't good. It goes straight to Alan Bartlett, who should steady down play. He's being told to kick long. He goes out there looking for Simons. Liptak dropped another one. That's his third today, but it's picked up by Salisbury. Inside 50, he goes towards goal, and that is a magnificent kick by Scooter Salisbury.
Well, I've got to admit, as an ex-coach of Scott Salisbury, I gave him no chance at all of kicking that goal. He's not a long kicker of the ball, yet he did it with consummate ease. I can't believe it. It came to ground level. He showed pace, something else he really lacks. He straightened up and kicked a magnificent goal. That'll live in Scott Salisbury's memory for a long time. He's not renowned as a goal kicker, yet he's done it on a grand final day when it just meant everything to his club. Great effort, Scott Salisbury.
Port Adelaide by 22 points as the Bays make their bid. Thumped away by Melican up towards the half-back line. In there goes McDermott. Mark Williams can't find it. Liptak against the tide. Marshall gets it out wider. Brett Dean, the recipient, if he can find the handle, has to concede ground. The Bays into attack through Dean. Up towards the half-forward line off. Christie's being held off the ball. Fiarchi comes out with it. Phillips now sweeps out along handball. Gets out wide. Phillips again. Flips out the handball. The running player is Hines. towards the half-forward line or northeast, and Smith collide. That could have proved dangerous. Haven't got a lot of flip players out there. No, it's Aber and Smith. Both of them come up pretty gimpy. Abernathy from centre wing. Not a lot of talking then. Aber just getting his breath back as he sends Port Adelaide into attack. Up towards Simons at the second grab. He can't make it. In there is Wanganeen. Gives it away. Simons, Tregenza, and it's Hodges who's bravely come back onto the turf, and he's going to have a shot for goal from about 45 out.
This will test him from there. No question about that. If his leg is anywhere near inconvenienced, he won't be able to kick this goal the way he may normally do from that position.
Graham Campbell's graveyard. That right forward pocket. Hodges has got to allow for the breeze. Kick number 6. And he's kicked out on the full. Not a normal kick from Scotty Hodges, but of course, knee bandaged, ankle bandaged, not all that healthy.
Every picture tells a tale there. Scott Hodges could not get his normal dexterity, I suppose you would call it, into the ball. His foot didn't follow through. Nothing happened for him.
Hang on, Graham. Ross Gibbs has actually played on from the free kick, but he ran to the right. So, in actual fact, the ball will now have to be thrown in. So that was a crucial mistake and a vital opportunity here now for the Magpies if they can capitalise on that error from Gibbs. Bartlett there. Williams an opportunity. Fed it off to brother Mark. In there is Thompson. Gets the kick away. Marshall, first player there. Gets it on the boot out of the danger zone. First player there will be Melican. He'll need support. Rezonico was putting him under pressure. The handball goes to Dean to Liptak. He's searching for a teammate in Chick Whitten. Little Chiggy has the ball. He's 30 metres out. He's been hit. But I think he may have put that one on, and 1 point stands.
It was a great passage of football. I've got to say that the handballing upfield by the Bays had to be seen to be believed. Deserved a goal, but it wasn't to be. Nick Chigwidden just missed it.
Fiarchi sweeps out the handball. Hutton back in defence. Nowhere to go. There's only 3 Bay players, Tiger players, that is, looking at him from that half-back line, and he had to go for the safety of the line. 10-7 to 7-8. At the throw-in. Melican. Chigwidden. Slips it out wide. Marshall wants a runner. Hooks around the corner. Fidge and Harris. Harris thumps away. Who's going to get the crumbs? It's Port Adelaide through Geneva. The runner's Tregenza. Port Adelaide on their way to the half-forward line, setting himself. Oh, Seabohm is pushed out and must, Bartlett it is, and must take the free kick at centre half back. (10-7) plays 7-8. Into attack they go. Welcome to the Nine Network from Sydney, TCN. And you're in the 1990 Adelaide Grand Final, 10-7 to 7-8. Into attack goes Abernathy. Out comes Hodges! Well, he was going to get it one way or the other. I think you probably felt that there would have been an FAD up for a late tackle. But the mark has been paid to Hodges, and he's 35 metres out.
And Ian, if he kicks this, he equals Rick Davies' South Australian record of 151 goals.
Hodges, who went down with an ankle injury in that first half, his last kick wasn't all that good, and I think this one's offline as well. I've just been informed it was the knee rather than the ankle, and that's why it's strapped. It's a point only to Hodges, and Port Adelaide, they move on to 10-8. The Bays are 7-8.
And that's Scott Hodges' second chance for this quarter to equal Rick Davies' record. It wasn't to be. It seems like fate's not smiling on him at the moment.
Well, it happened many years ago with Peter Hudson when he couldn't kick that record goal. And it may be happening here in South Australia. Good mark by Trigger Tregenza. He concedes ground. He goes back to Geneva, who does have ankle problems. This time he gets the kick away. He puts it out towards Hodges. Duthie from behind applies the spoil. It was effective. Marshall, first player there. Hutton in pursuit. Marshall shows him a clean pair of heels. Puts it out towards Melican. Chigwidden should be the first player there. Little Chiggy waits for the ball to sit. Overran it. Rezonico, clever work. He's a cool customer. Down towards Fiarchi. Taken out of it by Jamison. And George is down, but he's up pretty quickly, albeit a little ginger.
Tough stuff over the far side of the ground. Rod Jamison tried to shoot front young George. He got half there, and George went to the deck.
Port by 18 points. Melican thumped clear of that player. Northeast on the half-back line. He can't keep it in play. A throw in at centre wing. Glenelg led 5-2 to 4-5 at quarter time. It's a lead of 3 points. But Port Adelaide, with a magnificent late part of that second quarter, forged to a 24-point lead at half-time. Mark Williams back in defence. Hooks high towards the half-forward line. Setting himself back there is Christie. Thumps it out clear. A loose ball. Salisbury under pressures. Lost the football. Great pace there. Wanganeen on the left leg. Heads for goal. Give it a chance. Goal!
What a delight to watch as Gavin Wanganeen in full flight. He took that ball on the move. Scott Salisbury's a direct opponent all day. He's been tagging Gavin Wanganeen since the start of play. Was hotly in pursuit. Actually, Salisbury had first chance to get hold of this ball. Wanganeen tackled, followed it up beautifully, kept the ball in play, went on his wrong leg, which is his left leg, and popped it through with consummate. It's a great goal to the young man, 17 years of age, but knows where the goals are, and more importantly, can win that ball.
So Port Adelaide eke out a 24-point advantage once more in the 1990 Grand Final. Umpire Mark Mackey with the football. 11 minutes into the third term. The Bays need to do something and do it quickly. The South Australia's most famous football team, the Port Adelaide Magpies, seek their 30th premiership in what perhaps will be the last Grand Final as we have known it for over 100 years, with South Australia looming to enter the side in the AFL next year. Thompson tries to get the handball away. It goes as far as McDermott. He kicks it about 30 metres high and about 10 metres long. Phillips back there. McDermott off the ground. It's taken by Fiachi. Puts it out wide. Simon's opposed to Tregenza. Darren Smith into length support. Trigger wins out. Off goes Tregenza. He'll be too quick for Seabohm. The old fella did it well though. Up towards Duthie and Hodges. Duthie managed to get a hand to the football. Setri, he's kicked 3, puts it goalward again, and Ross Gibbs. Oh, no, it's Bartlett, in fact. What a timely mark.
Bartlett has got Gibbs out wide. That's where the ball will end. He's searching for it, or gets a bad bounce. Jamieson in support as Gibbs goes down. Jamieson off the half-back line, has time to have a look, gets the lead from Mansell, intercepted Foster, well played, and forces the ball out for a throw-in. 11-8 play, 7-8, 12 minutes into the second half. A crowd of 50,000 plus. Live from Football Park Stadium, the throw-in, Melican. Gets the tap away, can't effectively find a player, and it's Foster that takes it once more out of play.
And there's the aerial shot of Football Park, and what a magnificent sight it is. Over 50,000 people here to witness the 1990 Grand Final, and Graham Corns has made a move. Alan Bartlett has gone to centre half forward. Michael Murphy has left the ground, and Lyndon Bowe is now onto the arena as the pass goes out towards Fidge, and he takes a strong mark.
And what a strong contest Ben Harris gave him. Every inch of the way he was with Fidge on that occasion. Couldn't blame the fullback for that. Fidge was just too strong in the final analysis, but a great contest by the fullback for Port Adelaide, Ben Harris.
John Fidge has taken 4 marks. He's kicked 3-goal-1. This will be kick number 7. And the former Brisbane Bears player who came to the Tigers last year had an horrific run of injuries, and also a little bit of bad luck this year with a dislocated shoulder. Now has a chance to post his 4th goal. Originally hailed from the Melbourne Football Club, he's taking plenty of time. Mind you, it's a fairly crucial kick from about 40 metres out. It's one the Bays need. The crowd are behind it, minus the Port supporters, and he has drilled it.
What a pressure goal for John Fidge to kick. A crucial goal, a great mark. As I said before, Ben Harris gave him contest all the way. He was equal to the task, took the grab, and more importantly, went back on an angle and kicked it straight through the centre. His 4th goal for the game. Remarkably, 3 of those goals came in the first term. Second quarter, obviously goalless, and opened up this third term now, 14 minutes in, with his 4th goal. Melican off the ground for Mike Murphy. Another move by coach Graham Corns.
The Magpies by 18 points. Murphy back on the turf. Melican off. They go to the half-forward line through McDermott. It's not a good kick. Phillips back in defence, takes the easy one. On the left leg, goes out wide. Jennifer's out there with him. Hutton showed a lot of courage to go back into the herd. Can't get it out. Setri lost it. In goes Jennifer. Thrown away by Bowe. Thompson, now Chigwidden. The Bay starting to run. Chigwidden kicks in long up towards Fidge. Fidge and Harris thump clear of that player. Getting in there. Bartlett now coming through. Nigel Mansell. He runs into trouble, holding the ball. Gee, just a little unlucky was Nigel. Not very happy about it at all. And umpire Mark Mackey. Umpire just trying to sort out a few problems. It's going to be Phillips who eases the ball over to Rosonico in short, half-back line. northeast. Port Adelaide created the loose man. Off goes Abernethy. Off the half-back line, drives long to the half-forward line. Not well put. And it's Seabohm who takes the easy mark. He'll come across now to Simons. It better pay off. Simons is clear. They change direction. He's got Gibbs on this side now, but he doesn't want him. He might have to use him in the end. Simons just on the half-back line, drives long, but they can't find a winner in attack at the moment. Rosonico gets it out, and Tregenza run.
The Tigers under pressure as the Pies lift their game. The kick from Tregenza out wide, searching for Setri, but too far from that player, and we'll have a throw-in in front of the members' stand here at the Football Park Stadium.
It's remarkable. Every time Simon Tregenza gets the ball, he has a steadying bounce. He only runs 4 metres and bounces the ball, where in effect he could run 15. He never does. He always has that steadying bounce, then gets on with the game.
It's a habit that a number of players have, as players fight strongly for the ball. McDermott gets the handball out toward Jamison. He got the kick away. George is back there, though, with the football. He's going back into trouble. He managed to evade it, though, and the crowd appreciate that, and he's found David Hutton on the outer side. Hutton is off. Bow in pursuit. The kick is a low one. Hodges has 2 to beat. He kept the ball in front. He still has the football. Gets the handball back to Jennifer. He gives it to Wanganeen. The young sensation kicks towards goal, and he has dribbled it through. Oh, it just cleared Ross Gibbs, and he's kicked his second.
The boy's a genius. He knows where the goals are, Gavin Wanganeen. As I said earlier, he also can win the ball. He picked the ball up with consummate ease, ran towards the open goal, thought about it, ran another couple of steps. Hutton reached the ball off to him. Hodges tried hard to retain possession of the thing, got after it again, fed the hand pass out, finished up Wanganeen, and he just runs. He just knows where everything is in place. Pops it over the head of Ross Gibbs. Thought he might have got a touch to it, but he didn't. 1 goal to Wanganeen, his second for the quarter.
The Magpies open up a 24-point lead. Could be the moment of truth for the Tigers right now. Abernethy conceding space back into the half-back line. Rosonico cool. Heads Port Adelaide to the half-forward line. Thompson across. Thought about playing on, but he'll go back to take his kick. Gee, the base, or the Tigers need goals, and they need them quickly. Up towards Murphy on the half-forward line. The bounce favours Hutton. He's dispossessed. Now it's Jamison. Thought about the handball. Mansell puts it up. Fidge and Harris getting back in there is Hines as well, and he's quite happy to concede the point. And the Bays have got number 9 on the board.
I reckon John Fidge thought he was being held on to then, and I tend to agree with him. Harris was hanging onto his jumper. The umpire didn't see it, and Fidge is not happy at all. Nevertheless, the point stands.
57 points opposed to 80. The Magpies leading. They're playing a great brand of football at the moment as Rosonico puts the ball to the outer side. Christie front position and claim the mark. Now he'll be kicking from about 55 metres out. In fact, he handballs to Brett Dean, who drives it in long. They're looking for Fidge. He has the set. Oh, there's the mark. Murphy plays on, and he has kicked the goal. And do you think the Tigers didn't need that?
Boy, gee, what a great goal by Murphy too, with consummate ease again. He leaned into the pack, not easy to do in a situation like that. The long kick came in from Dean, right into the square, and Murphy materialised virtually into the marking area, popped it through. Great goal to Michael Murphy.
Big drama, Graham. Umpire Rick Kinnear is withdrawn. Obviously, he's got a leg injury. It could be a pulled calf muscle or hamstring or whatever. But it's Laurie Argent, the reserve umpire, has come onto the ground at the 18-minute mark of this third quarter.
Back centre field, Mark Mackey with the football, now officiating with Laurie Argent, one of South Australia's most senior umpires. Hines opposed to Christie, more or less a dead heat. Christie made sure of it, though, with the second tap. Down towards Bartlett, now playing centre half forward, and Laurie Argent straight into the action. That is holding the ball, and the free kick will be taken by Rosonico. Rosonico puts it out wide, looking for Darren Smith. Lyndon Bowe is there, but a strong mark's been taken by Foster. He wants to play on. He was off. But Mark Mackey gives him the benefit of the doubt. Now the pass goes out searching for Hodges, and he takes it, and he was still too quick for Duthie.
Still probably for mine, Scott Hodges. This will test him. If his knee's playing up, and I believe it is, he's got to go back and put full force into this kick, and it won't be easy for Scott Hodges, given his incapacitation at the moment.
He's had 5 marks, 8 kicks. He has kicked 150 goals for the season. He needs this goal to equal the all-time record held by Rick Davies, and that's his 3rd attempt. And once more, he is offline. 81 points placed, 63. Port Adelaide in front.
I've got to agree, the gods aren't smiling on Scott Hodges now. It could well be a repeat of, as Kim Dillon said earlier, the Peter Hudson tragedy of 1971, when he needed 4 goals to match the Bob Pratt record in Melbourne.
Murphy, oh, well done, Tregenza. Edge Murphy, a much more experienced player. Duthie it was underneath the football. Tregenza puts it up for grabs again. Darren Smith's there, back in defence. It's Salisbury. Floats one back. Dean's got to get a set here. He gets a favourable bounce. Dean off the half back line, goes out wide for Mansell. Mansell at centre wing, one to beat in Foster. Has the pace, handballs to himself. The umpire said play on. Now he needs help. He'll come back in board. McDermott can't find it. Mark Williams, well played. In goes Fiarchi. Chigwitten goes in and out. Fiarchi again. Down he goes in a heap. Bartlett can't find it. Foster comes out. In comes Van Mountain. Gets the handball over. Northeast from centre half back. It is Abernethy. Drives in towards the half forward line. Thumped clear by Jennifer again. Christie. Down goes Gibbs, and the umpire will give him a free kick for a push in the back.
Gee, what pressure stuff that was. That was at both ends of the ground. Both back lines not conceding 1 inch, and great pressure football. Good to watch.
A lot of tenacity being shown by both sides, but it's Port Adelaide with the score on the board as Christie goes to the outer side. It goes out there, and George Fiarchi takes another mark. He started off in great fashion, and he's continued in that manner. He's had 20 touches from the back pocket, and he's a fine player, is George. Short pass is not good, and that happens every time. Intercepted by McDermott. Gee, you give them a rap. Now McDermott drives in looking for Fidge. Bit of pushing and shoving. It's allowed, though. Fidge dropped what he should have taken. Now it's picked up by Ben Harris, his opponent. He drops out a short pass, and it's been taken by David Hutton, number 27 for the Magpies. Drops it in short, and Setri takes the mark. Little push play on the call. The advantage is paid with the handball out towards Harris. Tregenza dropped that, picked up by Darren Smith. He's been a little bit quiet against Seabohm. Puts up a floating kick. Salisbury lost sight of it, and Williams took the mark. And they're being outplayed up forward. Now the kick goes in towards Hodges. Jamison back there. Hodges, 2 grabs. Well, surely he will not miss. He will equal the record from only 10 metres out.
Don't back it in, Kim. Don't back it in. He definitely is feeling that knee. He lacks confidence in his normal kicking action. He's got to kick through the ball once again from a slight angle.
He's got to put his weight on his bung knee. That's his problem.
Well, I'll be more than happy to accommodate any wages. We feel very confident that Scott Hodges will kick goal number 151 and his 4th for the match, and Port Adelaide's 13th, and he has equalled the record.
Well, that's good to see. He certainly deserves to at least equal the record. He's got 1 to go now to beat it. It's a long-standing record. Rick Davies set some 1983, I think it was, when Davies kicked 151. And there's the mark repeated to Stephen Williams. Hunched up well, fed it on quickly. Hodges stood his ground. Attacked from the side. He was able to complete the mark. And more importantly, once again, go back. And this time was able to kick through the ball. As Ian Day said, he had to put the weight on that left foot, which is the knee, actually, that's a little bit suspect. But no worries.
At the bounce, Christie gets it out towards half forward line. Bartlett can't. Geneva showing courage. Puts it out for Marnie. Marnie now Tregenza. Finds Wanganeen. Lucks a fortune. Off the half back line. Abernethy now kicks out wide. Coming across to meet it will be Bowe. Back in defence. Has time to have a look. Sweeps out a handball off it. Puts Simons under pressure. He's got to go back to Bowe. Bowen turns Salisbury. And Salisbury's in trouble as well. And he's taken over the line for a throw in. The Bays are starting to look a little bit tattered. Port Adelaide playing with more confidence. The Bays are going to have to lift that 24 points down. At the throw-in, it is Williams gets it out. Now Marnie raises a gallop, hooks around the corner. In defence, it's Bowe. Umpire not paying it. Wanganeen with pace. Can't get clear of Simons. Umpire's going to give him a free kick. Gavin Wanganeen, 17 years of age. Experience beyond his years, already booted 2, might not make it from here. He's about the 55-metre mark.
And it must be said, Ian Lindenbaum made a real mess of that mark then. He could have marked it in his chest, tried to take it with his hands and of course fluffed it.
The Bay starting to make mistakes now. Graham and Port Adelaide making them pay. Up towards full forward. The umpire's seen a free kick. It's going the way of the Tigers to be taken there by Seabohm in defence.
Johnny Seabohm, the veteran of 277 games, puts out a pass and finds Scott Salisbury, who has been surprisingly quiet statistically. And physically, his presence hasn't been felt today as it normally would be. The ball put out wide to Chigwidden. He's out there trying. Now Mansell an opportunity. They're all losing their footing. Over the top, play on the call. It now goes down to Murphy. He's kicked two. The handball out searching for Dean. Intercepted by Hines. Now back towards Bartlett. The big chap hooks around his body and kicks it out of bounds on the full. And we have hit time on in the third term. And the Magpies are looking pretty good. 13-9 they lead. Glenelg 9-9. The action on Nine's Wide World of Sports.
You're dead right, Kim. The Tigers have had their issue with the wind. Drazonico comes to meet the ball and stumped out of play. Right forward pocket. Tigers down by 24 points. Port Adelaide playing great football. At the throw in, Hines takes it casually, can't get it clear. Jennifer can. Kicks high back towards the half-back line. Christie over the top. Ball thumped out of play again by Hutton, and it's a throw in on the half-forward right flank. Graham, I just feel as though the Tigers have just lost a little bit of their run.
Lost a bit of heart too, Ian, it seems to me. They've played without luck this quarter. The breaks have gone Port Adelaide's way, both free kick-wise and general play. And the Tigers have just sat back a bit and got disheartened by it all.
Marnie up towards Williams, thumped clear there by Gibbs. Bow under pressure again. Gibbs wants it. He gives it back now to Thompson. Thompson in turn concedes back to Seabohm. Oh, the handball is a shocker. Marnie heads off, kicks to the half-forward line. Getting back on it is Seabohm again. Now he's got to find a runner. Gibbs is there. Off the half-back line, he tumbles an awful-looking kick. Marshall, who's been quieter this quarter, trying to work his way through, supported by McDermott. Gee, there's no runners for the Bays at all. McDermott takes a player out. The Bays into attack up towards Chigwidden. The bounce favours Wanganeen. Port into attack again. It's Thompson and Gibbs there. Thompson back. They could make a hash of it, but Gibbs kicks clear, and the Bays got a chance now to set something up, and they need to do it in a hurry.
The kick by Gibbs went across the ground and it finds Jamison. Jamison appears to be playing on a half-back flank now, and Graham Corns, in fact, the wing. Cornsey has some problems at the moment as the ball is put up high. There's no Crummers. First one there is Liptak. He goes towards goal, but he's bent it back too far. Another point on the board. The difference now 27 minutes into the third term.
I must admit they've had wretched luck this quarter, Glenelg, and even Liptak, given that ball in the first term, would have put it through, no worries. But he's missed it comprehensively.
Kick in coming from Harris to the outer side. Dean over the top destroys any chance of a mark, and the ball beats Mansell out of play. As I said before, it's a moment of truth for the Bays. They're staring at a deficit of 23 points. 28 minutes gone. Christie can't find it. Marnie tries to raise the gallop. Ginniver can. Under question with a bad ankle, but geez, come good. Fine mark, Darren Smith. Tack side of centre wing on the outer side. Big open spaces now for Port Adelaide. Smith puts it in. Who are the runners? Looking for it is Setri. He's got it. Hodges in the square if he can get it too. Well, the umpire said play on, a little stiff. Simons got it from Dean. Simons through centre line, screws a long one, up towards Fidge. Oh, Harris lost his footing at the critical moment. Fidge got a sitter, could not believe his luck. He's booted 4, and the Bays desperately need right now for him to make it number 5. John Fidge, 25, 30 metres out right in front from this distance. Normally an excellent kick for goal, wind assisted. Not getting a lot of support from the Port Adelaide supporters. He heads towards the lake, and that is offline. Oh, what a miss. The Bays did not need that right then. Siren time at the 29-minute mark. Port Adelaide by 22 points.
Well, John Fidge couldn't blame the siren for that goal. He missed it prior to, 2 seconds later the siren did go. But the pressure of a grand final situation laying on his shoulders didn't help the boy. He missed the goal from point-blank range. That wasn't good enough. And the Bays come in now some 22 points in arrears.
At the end of the third term, Glenelg 9 goals, 11, 65, trailing Port Adelaide 13 goals, 9, 87. We'll be back with the final quarter shortly.
Very good down on the boundary line, Rick Davies. Rick, what is happening at the Glenelg camp?
Well, Corns, he just sort of mentioned to suck in the breeze. Kimmy Hodgman had his say. We've come a long way. You've trained for a full 12 months. We can do it. We've been in this position before. We can run them off our legs because we know for a fact that we are the fitter player. But Well, I just sort of looked around and I thought the heads were down a little bit, and down here on the ground, the wind is blustering down to that lake end, and it's going to be a very, very hard job to get back from here.
And Rick, the crummers for Port Adelaide, they seem to be at the bottom of the pack, whereas every time the Bays go forward, they seem to get the ball into their forward line, but Port Adelaide are there in their numbers to take it away just as quickly. Yeah,
well, Port Adelaide were damaged a couple of weeks ago. They're not going to be damaged today, and I've actually gone across and said to Scotty Hodges, look, if I can kick a couple of goals at three-quarter time by myself, perhaps you won't break the record. But he's come back onto the ground. He's been sensational, and he deserves, after winning the medal, to break the record, and good luck to him.
Well, Rick, Glenelg lay claim to being the fittest side in the competition. We'll soon find out. Brian Cunningham has been down with the Port Adelaide huddle. Brian, what did John Cale have to say?
Well, John appreciated the fact that they've got the breeze in this quarter, Kim. It's worth 3 or 4 goals. It really is a strong breeze down the ground. And Port, through John Cale, are going to move the ball long. He suggested that they move it long down the flanks and wide in defence, and that's the name of the game. It's a simple game as far as John Cale is concerned. That is, get the ball, kick it long, and maintain the lead that they've got.
And Brian, they're a ravaged injury side, Port Adelaide, but despite the Smith being out, Brown, Geneva playing with an injury, Hodges on one knee, Johnson off the ground, they're still doing it. They've still got numbers around the ball, and they're still working harder than the Bays.
I guess it's the Port Adelaide tradition. That's the way it goes down there. You've got to work hard to get the ball. They're doing it, and doing it awfully well.
OK, Brian, thanks very much for that. It's now back to our commentator to call the last quarter of what we've known of South Australian football for a long time. It's Ian Day.
Thanks, Kim. Yes, it's sad. I think also that the Bays are in trouble. Just for interstate viewers, Glenelg, I keep on calling them the Bays. They are on the Holdfast Bay. Their name, or their nickname, is better known as the Bays, perhaps in Adelaide, but the Tigers. But certainly you can see the reference to the Tigers in their yellow and black strip. 13-9 to 9-11. The Tigers kicked with the breeze in that quarter, and yet they could only reduce their deficit of 24 points back to 22. So they've got a monumental problem. Port Adelaide in the van as we go into the last quarter, as Kim told you, of the 1990 season, the last we've known in 100 years. Final quarter of the 1990 grand final. Port Adelaide 13-9 against the Bays 9-11. Have got a huge platform to start. Seabohm back in defence, back to Thompson around the corner. The bounce good, determined. Hutton got a bad one. Dean tries to get it out to Chigwedden. It's a good handball off the centre wing, kicks towards the half-forward line. They need a winner up there. Big mark taken by Murphy. Murphy's got Chigwedden out wide. One-on-one. Fidge in the square. Fidge against Harris. Fidge is going to get a leap at it. Harris over the top. Lip tack for the Crumbs. You'll need support. Can't get a swing away. And Airy. And out steams Tregenza. Watch him go. Murphy can't catch him. The youngster built through centre line, kicks out long, up towards Hodges, but in defence it's Seabohm. He can't find it. Hodges is there. Duthie through. Back in defence it's Jamison. Gets it back now. Seabohm kicks high. Dean against Hutton. Line ball, that one. Coming to meet it is McDermott, and the umpire's going to give him a free kick.
And very strangely, Ian, Chris McDermott, the captain of the Tigers, has had no impact on this game this afternoon whatsoever. Bo runs into trouble, puts Jamison in a similar situation. Hallahan's been a quiet man. He puts it out to Tony Simons. He's been a real trier for the Bays. He's fighting fresh air out there. Eventually picks it up, falls down, handball's up in the air. They are under enormous pressure, the Tigers, and they're making hard work of it in the 1990 grand final. Simons once more, back onto the right boot, drops in a pass, and that is a more educated passage of play by Glenelg. Not so Bruce Abernathy, who has given away 50 metres to perhaps one of the most accurate kicks in South Australian football, David Marshall, and there it is, a little bit late. Kick number 16 for David Marshall. He's also had 6 handballs. He also wears number 16. We're nearly 2 minutes into this final term, and the Bays, the Glenelg Football Club, desperately need a goal, and Marshall has accommodated.
One of the most skilled players in the Glenelg lineup, David Marshall, simply doesn't miss goals that close in. In fact, the man doesn't do anything wrong in the skills of football. He kicks goals from a distance out. He kicks it from anywhere, given half a chance. A very skilled footballer. Usually plays on a wing, playing in the middle today. Has played in the middle over the last half of the season, possibly. He was upended then at the last moment. Got the 50-metre pull. A trifle lucky, but put the goal through. Something he would have no problem in doing. David Marshall is a star.
Port Adelaide by 16 points. The moment of truth for the Tigers now. Oh, gee, out goes McDermott with a high tackle. Hallahan's going to get the free kick across now to Jamison. The Tigers into attack. Mansell's up there with him is Foster. Abernethy through, lost the football. In Burrows, northeast, comes out now towards Liptak. Murphy there as well. And umpire Mackey will come in for the bounce. 13-9 to 10-11. 50,589 people at Football Park Stadium. Liptak has to get rid of that in a hurry, too slow. Well, the umpire let it go. He was lucky then. Hallahan doesn't know where to go. Floats one around the corner. Piazzi can't find it. Bartlett through. Hooks around the corner. Liptak! Oh, he dropped the sitter. It's the second one he's done. Handballs to Rizonico. Liptak seems to have lost all bearing out there. Lost the plot, as Kim would say, and Piazzi clear.
Well, no question, Ian. The occasion has the better of him at the moment. Christie's been pretty steady, along with Duthie and Simons and Marshall and perhaps Gibbs. But there's a few players for the Tigers who have panicked, and Liptak's dropped 4 easy marks today as Geneva gets it over towards Phillips. Full credit to the Magpies. Gee, they're a class act under pressure. Rizonico, the sweeping handball. Out towards Big Benny Harris. Waited for it to sit, then gave it back to the not-so-quick Phillips, who farms out a handball to find Hutton. They have the loose man. They have some space and they have some time as the ball is dropped into Setri. Now they should compose themselves. They're in control of this game. Hodges! Well, old B, he was almost dead in that second term, and this has been a huge comeback. 8 marks and now an opportunity to put himself in the record books with a South Australian record of 152. He likes them from this distance. Let's ride it with him. The 1990 Magarey medalist, he lets fly, and he is the record holder for South Australian football.
Well, might I be the first to say on air, congratulations on Scott Hodges. It's a deserved effort. The boy went down for the count in the second quarter. It appeared he wouldn't come back on the ground, but he's done just that. Under difficulty in the third quarter, couldn't quite kick through the ball, but that mark and that goal lived in my memory for a long time. A great goal to Scott Hodges, 152 goals for the year, a record in South Australian National Football League history, and the man deserves every accolade that can be showered upon him.
The icing on the cake for Port Adelaide. Congratulations to Scott Hodges. Couldn't happen to a nicer fellow. 14-9 to 10-11. Now the Bays have got a problem going through. However, is Simons. He'll need a runner from there. Gives it back to Thompson. Tumbles one to the half-forward line. Mansell up there. Thumps the ball clear. Bartlett. In goes Tregenza. Hallahan can't find it. Tregenza loses it. A chance for Hutton to send them into the attack if he can find the handle. Setri gets run down by Bartlett. He's still in there. Battles hard for the football. But the umpire will come in and bounce on the half-forward line. Well, Port Adelaide has been fighting a crusade for the latter part of this season. If they needed any further lift, Scotty Hodges getting that record is just what the doctor ordered. They're up by 22 points. Players getting tired. Mark Williams sends it into attack. Hodges again! Oh, he slipped Duthie. This could be game, set and match. Amen for 1990. If Scott Hodges were to kick this right now, the Bays would really be pushing wind uphill. Only 10 metres out, a most acute angle. His confidence is sky high. And he gets it straight through the... No. Hit the post. Bad luck. Their 10th point.
Well, it must be said also that Chris Duthie was in front of his opponent on that occasion, but the ball almost radar-inspired went straight to Scott Hodges for a chest mark. He went back and couldn't quite complete the contract. He really has slipped Chris Duthie in this last quarter so far. He must tighten up.
Gibbs puts it out, and the Pies lead by 23 points. Dean takes it, goes through the back door, kicks around his body. It's a race for pace. First player there will be Foster. He couldn't take the football. He's back on it quickly, though. Gets the handball away to Northeast, who puts it up high. Underneath it, Thompson. He completes the mark after running into Darren Smith. The handball now to Lyndon Bowe. They're playing into the breeze, Glenelg, and to take a miracle to win from here. Port Adelaide have done it well. It's been a supreme effort. They certainly play with a spirit and a passion unequalled in South Australian football. As Phillips puts it out to Abernethy. He in turn looking for Geneva, who had a huge cloud over him as far as injury was concerned at the start of the game with that crook ankle. The ball now goes in. Hodges again! Well, he's been resurrected. Incredible comeback. This has been bigger than Lazarus. There's another mark, and perhaps the most popular player in South Australia, a very popular Magarey medal win. Now an opportunity to post goal number 6. Kicking from 50 metres out, 51 in fact, he lets fly, and he has split the centre.
Well, I've got to admit, you won't see a better goal than that. For a man that's been inconvenienced somewhat for 2.5 quarters, to go back and kick a 55-metre goal, post high, that's something else. And Scott Hodges, you're an absolute champion, son. I couldn't believe you'd come back from that knock you got. It was quite unintentional, of course, in the square, but he not only has come back, he kicked goals from long distances, the sign of a champion. Absolute great stuff.
Port Adelaide open up a 29-point lead. Could be the end of the penny section for the Tigers. The ball thumped towards Phillips. He gives a roundhouse left out to Tregenza. Tregenza through the centre line again. The kick is an awkward one to the half-forward line. Up there was Bowe, back is Seabone, concedes back to Gibbs. Time to have a look as he kicks towards the half-forward line. Bays can't find a winner there at the moment. The kick is not a good one. Northeast, that awkward kick back towards the half-forward line. Setry through, now it's Tregenza. Tregenza puts it up again. Hodges against Duthie. Hodges in front at the back, it's Smith, and that is it. There is no more. It's the Magpies in 1990. Kicks his second, 16-10 to 10-11 on 9. Wide world of sports.
Well, Ian, I hope Port Adelaide think there's no more. There's still 26 minutes of football to go, possibly. Well, at least 21 minutes anyhow. And Darren Smith hasn't had a big day. I've got to admit that. If I had my choice of Glenelg best player today, would be John Seabone, his marksman. But Darren Smith on that occasion slipped him and walked into an open goal to, as Ian Day said, seal up the game for Port Adelaide. But there's a long way to go.
Certainly is. Back centre field, the ball with Mark Mackey. They say it's not over till the fat lady sings. I think she's on the stage and she is walking to the microphone. As Christie up high, Hines up higher, down towards Mark Williams. He's been quiet in the second half. Hodges, big leap, couldn't take it. Lyndon Bowe, quick hands to find Seabone. He searches wide for Jamison, who started on a half-forward flank, now appears to be playing in defence. That kick is misdirected. He was searching for Simons, but it went over the head of that player. And I agree with Rick Davies at three-quarter time. There are a few Glenelg players out there who appear to have their head down. They've made some crucial errors, but largely due to the pressure that Port Adelaide has applied. The ball down towards Liptak, throws it on the left boot. Underneath it, Bartlett. Chigwidden flew, couldn't take it. Northeast took the crumbs. The handball now out to Rosonico. Sits it up high, looking for Jennifer, who takes the mark and was thinking about playing on. I think Mark Mackey, he was correct there. He called that a dead heat. And Jennifer will go back and take the kick.
I'll tell you why Tim Jennifer wanted to play on. He'd rather handball than kick. You watch this, he'll pull his kick now and he does finally get boot the ball.
Chips out a pass, having to stand his ground was Hutton. Going through was Dean. Jennifer back in the action again. Cleverly played Setry. Marnie can't. Jennifer back in. He's running on his knees at the moment, Tim Jennifer. Happy Port supporters. They know they've got it. You're never dead until you lie down, but gee, you must be getting down on the knees. The bounce on the half-forward line, 16-10 to 10-11. Darren Smith edges the ball towards his goal again. Gibbs in defence. Kicks out towards centre wing. Hutton's going to get there first. He's got one to beat in Dean. Half-forward line, Stephen Williams at the second grab. All Port Adelaide players starting to get into the act again now. Williams puts it up for grabs. Smith and/or Hodges over the top. It's Seabone, Thompson, back in defence, Gibbs. But this is where we started. The Bays can't get it past their centre line. Now Liptak. Out on the outer side is Jamison, joined by Simons. Back in field, he thought about Liptak. Now Simons goes long. Half-forward line, Fiarchi. They are impregnable, Port Adelaide. They're not going to let this one slip out. Williams wants it centre field. But George is going to have a look at his options and puts it up nicely to the half-forward line. Finds Northeast. In turn, Northeast goes in high. Gibbs back in defence. Thompson's got to work hard. Joined by Duthie again. Duthie goes short, and it's Simons in the back pocket.
Simons has played a very good game for the Tigers. The handball went over towards Duthie, who had a good first half, dropping at his lip tack. He's made a few mistakes today. He started off well, but he puts it up high, and there's Hines! Well, he'll be doing that for the West Coast Eagles next year. That was a great grab. The handball out towards Phillips wasn't all that flash. The big man will stand his ground. Now he gets up onto his knees. He's kept the ball in the area. It wasn't pretty football. In fact, they've lost it. Bartlett to an unprotected goal. The ball bounces back towards Mansell. He can't control it. Harris in there. They're fighting hard. Harris is trying to concede the point. Back there is Hines. Good Shepherd applied. I think it could have been Foster. No, that's Foster there. In fact, the player before was Rosonico, and Foster will clear to the outer side. Christie gets back there and takes the mark. Plays on with nothing. In fact, he went without the football, and that is the story of the day. Indecision by Glenelg. That is a great mark by Ross Gibbs, who is off. Plays on with a handball out wide towards Thompson.
Thompson on the half-back line. Gee, the Bay getting forced into errors by the Magpies. Too good on the day. 16-10 to 10-11. Melican's back on. Mansell has gone off. The Tigers bringing on a big man. His co-ruckman there, Christie in the action. Abernethy over the top. Seabohm can't raise the gallop. This man can. Gibbs. High to the half-forward line. Fiachi in there. Pushing the back. Free kick to the Tigers. Murphy puts it up now for Melican. The big fellow's got a lumber to meet this one. Caught on his wrong foot. Fidge! And he's got it. And the umpire will have to pay that one. Very close to 50 metres as well, I would think. But Fidge has got it. He's only 25, 30 metres out. And the Bays, to say they need goals is the understatement of the century. 8th kick to Fidge. He's already booted 4. He missed the last one from a set shot, which stunned most people, and this is not the easiest kick in the world from this right forward pocket. Fidge floats that one through. He's got 5, the Bays 11.
Good effort by any player to kick 5 goals in the grand final. Nonetheless, John Fidge wouldn't be happy with the total contribution of his game today. He's missed a couple of easy ones. On this occasion, though, it was made easy for him by Melican, a natural left footer. Gave a right foot pass across to Fidge. Definitely a mark in my opinion. Ben Harris came very late, knocked it to the ground. Could have been pinched 50 metres. Didn't make much difference. Fidge split the centre. His 5th goal and Glenelg's 11th. Good effort by John Fidge in a losing battle.
Back centre field, 77 plays 106. The Tigers need 5 goals to win this game. A rather large and difficult task, but they're going forward once more. Out there is Greg Phillips, perhaps in his last game of league football. Who knows? He's not getting any younger. Chigwidden has the ball. He streams towards the goals. Back there, Rosonico. So too Christie, but it is forced over the line for a point. Glenelg, 11 goals, 12, 78. Trail Port, 16, 10, 106. We've had 15 and a half minutes of the final term.
And half the crowd willing that goal through, and the other half saying don't go through. 1 point only.
Rosonico minus a boot. A ground covering kick. Gee, made some distance. Melican at the back. Waiting for the bounce with Simons. Did it well. Phelps over the top has given away the free kick. Tony Simons with his 20th kick comes out wide to Gibbs or set him up. Well done, Stephen Williams. The Tigers will get out of it through Jamison. He tumbles one towards the half-forward line. Foster kicks long. Darren Smith on the lead. Off the fingers, it's Phelps. Lost it. Gibbs again picking up a lot of touches in this last quarter, but he can't find a forward. Thompson, half-forward line. Murphy, good mark. Too far out to score. Needs a runner. Gets it in the pocket with Liptak, and that's a good mark. Liptak at the 50-metre mark. McDermott wants it. Liptak's his 11th kick. Going in towards the full forward area. Top mark by Rosonico. Well played on. Fidge! Hooks. The umpire said it was touch, play on. Touch 1 point. Glenelg 11-13. Port Adelaide 16-10.
Indecision there by the players. Most of them thought it was a mark, a clear mark, but it was touched as the player kicked the ball. And therefore the umpire had no hesitation in waving play on. But the players took a while to switch on.
79 points opposed to 106. The Magpies in front. The action on Nine's Wide World of Sports. It's a mammoth kick and it's punched forward by Hines. Back there is Gibbs. After it is Setri. He's kicked 3 goals. He farms it out to Wanganeen, who cleverly taps it in the direction of Smith. Through goes Seabohm. He's been a star this afternoon. It's a wobbly kick forward. Phillips applies the spoil. He's the destroyer. Down towards Hines. Out towards David Hutton. Draws the player. Puts it out to Mark Williams, who's been very quiet in the second half. He's paddling the ball ball forward using all his experience, but his legs look tired. Through he goes. His wife gave birth to their first child, and there goes brother Stephen. He went out in sympathy over the boundary line. But Mark Williams, great footballer. The whole Williams family are tremendous sports people.
Kim, are you insinuating that's why he's got heavy legs?
No, but their first child would certainly be a big occasion in their family and perhaps a little bit disruptive.
Agree.
But his first half was very good. He's been a champion player. He captained Collingwood. He played for the Brisbane Bears. He also played for West Adelaide in South Australia, where he started his league football. But really, he's always been a magpie through and through, as Hutton finds Hodges, who takes it on the third grab.
It must be said, you wouldn't see a better pass than that, really. David Hutton had all the aplomb of a veteran then. Well, he's a veteran, I guess. He's been playing for a while now on the wing for Port Adelaide, but most players would have blasted away towards goal. Not Hutton. He saw the lead of Hodges and picked him off beautifully.
Scott Hodges has 6 goals. He wears number 11. He's taken 11 marks today. He seems to be able to kick goals from almost anywhere. Could this be number 7? No, he starts it to the left. Port Adelaide 107, Glenelg 79 points.
I've gone down for six goals, 5 today, Scott Hodges. And I think one may have gone out of bounds on the full also, so he certainly has engineered plenty of shots for goal.
Yes, his first kick back after he came with that ankle or knee injury went out on the full. Gibbs goes towards centre wing. Jamieson can't. Foster can. Heaves the ball back towards the half-forward line. Stephen Williams made a mess of that. Bow back in defence. Put Simons under pressure. Wanganeen, well done. Geneva had the head pulled off. In goes Rosonico. Setri fighting for the ball. Williams there as well. And the umpire will come and ball it up. Phillips down, or Phelps it is, down in the right forward pocket. And there he is, the man who's going to coach Port Adelaide to 3 successive premierships. Twice at Port Adelaide, and only the 4th coach since the war to do so. He's been 2 of them. Gibbs high back towards the half back line. Hutton won his wing well, takes the ball over the line.
It must be said, Ian, Jack Carl's very hard to beat in the grand final. This is the Bay's 2nd go at it in the last decade, and they just can't break through. Jack just knows what it takes to win a premiership.
A superb coach. Jamison's got to make a metre. Hodges is going to get there first. No, Phelps it is. Back now to Setri, holding the ball against Phelps, and the free kick will go at centre-half back to Jamieson.
And that was a rather quick decision and perhaps a little inconsistent to what we've seen so far this afternoon. Nevertheless, Seabohm with the ball after he received a handball from Jamieson. It's picked up by Simon. Simon's a sweeping kick out towards Chigwidden. He goes back, centre field, up the corridor, puts it out, looking for Fidge. Punched away, though, by Benny Harris. And now down towards Hallahan. He's been very quiet. That perhaps sums up his day. Run down from behind. Geneva in there working hard. And an enormous question mark over Tim Geneva with that ankle injury at the start of the game. There he is. He hasn't had a lot of kicks. He's preferred to handball. Only 7 kicks. But he's had 14 handballs, and he's won 21 possessions throughout the day, and he's been a valuable contributor. Once more we have a bounce, and at nearly the 21-minute mark, Ian, I mentioned before about not being over till the fat lady sings. Well, apart from being on the stage and grabbing the microphone, she is now clearing her throat.
I said that about 14 minutes ago, Kim. I conceded, just well the Bays haven't. Still a bit of time to go, but Port Adelaide have got it scummed to pieces. The umpire said a free kick going the way of Chigwidden for holding the ball. Chigwidden is at the 50-metre mark from where he kicks, or just about. Into the breeze. It's going to be a struggle. 8th kick. Going up. Hits the wall now. Right on the edge there. Thumped away by Phillips. And it goes out of bounds in the right forward pocket. Rowan Smith, the most unfortunate Port Adelaide player who received a bad facial injury in the preliminary final and couldn't take part in the final, but he's just as much part of the Port Adelaide team as the 20 who've battled it out today. Fiachi, Williams, back now towards Abernethy. Floats one over, brilliantly done. Northeast is there, he'll bolt. Bartlett's got to chase him. Northeast is a very good runner. Chips around the corner, will find Phelps. Back to Northeast in the double play, but he didn't have the strength to bend down and pick it up. Setri's taken off the ball. Northeast again, kicks in towards the half-forward line, and Seabohm has been a top player. Duthie gets the run, and he goes through the half-back line. Bounces the Bays into attack. Almost had an airy. That was a great stop. Now kicks long, full forward. Back there is Christie. And the umpire's paid the free kick rather than the mark, and it's Christie from about 40 metres.
It's academic, I know it's a mark or a free kick, but the work of Chris Duthie coming upfield, he gained 70 metres at least in the run, then kicked it another 60. He's covered 130 metres from the moment he took possession of the ball. A great solo effort by number 17 for Glenelg.
Gary Christie, 40 metres out, only his 4th kick. It's a nice looking kick, starting to float away now, but he's got it.
Yes, Gary Christie's first goal. He made hard work of it, although we really can't appreciate from our vantage point here at Football Park how hard it is kicking into that breeze. I no doubt it's blowing straight in his face, but it hung up in the air and it split the centre finally. It just hung in there for a good goal to Gary Christie, his first for the game. And as I said before, set up by Chris Duthie, running free of the play. A great solo effort by the fullback of Glenelg to give Gary Christie that chance to mark or free kick and have a goal against his name.
Back centre field, and the Magpies lead by 22 points, and they really set up this victory for what we presume will be a victory in the second term and the third terms when they play desperate, hard attacking football. We'll have a bounce now, courtesy of umpire Mark Mackey. He's officiated today in his first grand final and has performed extremely well. Ball to ground. Mellick in front position, pushed it down towards Liptak, tries to weave his way through the defensive port, out towards Chigwidden, went without the football. It's happened too often for the Tigers. In there working hard, that is Abernethy. And we will have a bounce again as we head towards the 24-minute mark of the final term, as it starts to get a little bit darker here at Football Park, as the clouds cover this magnificent stadium. In excess of 50,000 people here to witness this magnificent grand final. Simons out to Liptak, in turn goes back towards looking for McDermott.
It'll get dark early down at Glenelg tonight, Kim, I can tell you. Jamieson on the lead is Fidge. Well played, Harris. Oh, but Fidge comes out with a football, hooks around the corner. That could be a goal. Whatever, it's got to be one of each. Which way's the umpire going? He's paid the mark rather than the goal. And Michael Murphy, which is purely academic. And if he gets this, it is only 3 straight kicks, the difference. Murphy sent round on an angle. It won't really matter. He could play on if he wanted to, but he should not miss from there. An important kick for the Bays. They're still wagging their tail. 3 straight kicks, the difference.
Oh yes, a great goal to Glenelg. They're going down fighting. The boys are saying the fat lady's clearing her throat. I believe she's handed her sheet music to the piano player, but all of a sudden he's decided not to play just right now. They're waiting. There's still 5 minutes to go possibly, and there's only 3 kicks in it. What a game we've got on our hands if the Glenelg side kick the next goal. Oh, what a game, as Ian Day would say.
Well, rather incredibly, Glenelg are fighting back. There's only 16 points the difference. We've just hit time on. There's 5 minutes remaining. They need 3 goals to win the game. And, gee, I don't think it can happen. If it did, it would be the biggest comeback of all time.
Could fitness make the difference, Kim? The Glenelg side pride themselves on their extra fitness they have over the other teams, in their opinion, that is.
Well, they've made no secret of that. They claim they are the fittest side in the South Australian National Football League. We'll soon see. Chigwidden applies the tackle. In there is Bartlett. Soccering it is Marshall. Taking it Hallahan. He goes out wide to Simons. He loves kicking goals. Over towards Marshall. He's caught on the left boot. The ball sits. Murphy read it the better, and he couldn't take it. 15 points the difference.
Oh, it's getting interesting out there, I can tell you. The game's starting to hot up. We thought it was dead. The Bays thought otherwise, and just as well they did. At least they're getting a respectable score. 16-11 to 13-14. 26 and a half minutes gone. Comes out now towards Harris. Oh, he flew on his lonesome. Bad play by the Bays. And Hutton is quite prepared to take the ball across the line for a throw-in, and almost went into the Bay bunker. Throw-in on the half-forward right flank. Melican trying to lift. Liptak through, can't get out of that one. Runs into a dead heat, and the umpire will bounce the football. We welcome Sydney through TCN. The score 16-11 to Glenelg 13-14. Their grip now, Port Adelaide, is perilous, only 15 points in it. The Bays just won't lie down. Mark Williams back in defence. Wanganeen, oh, he's dragged off the football. And that's a bad mistake once again by the Tigers. And Wanganeen will get a free kick on the half-back flank.
This has been a valiant and desperate fight back by Glenelg, but they'll run out of time. We've had just over 27 minutes. The tackle by Chigwedden. The Bays could ill afford to make an error like that, and they have. So the Tigers trailing by 15 points. Wanganeen with kick number 11. Wanganeen drives it in. Melican fighting for position. Smith intelligently punches the ball on. This is Stephen Williams. He has the football. He has pace. He has Hodges on a lead, but he goes towards goal. He has kicked a point, and that will help their cause. Ross Gibbs will be very quick to bring the ball back into play once the umpire signals 1 point.
In fact, I believe a point's better than a goal there. Just keeps the ball that into the ground.
Time's run out for the Tigers for sure. Duthie over the top comes Fiarchi. Simon Tregenza puts it up now. Phillips, Hodges over the top. At the back of the pack, it's Gibbs. Now Thompson. Thompson gets the set. Run down. Ball out of play in the left full forward pocket. 28 minutes gone, and the sands of time have run out for the Tigers. 16-12 to 13-14 at the throw-in. Phelps in front. Ginniver can't. Liptak tries to raise a gallop. Thompson back now to Lyndon Bowe. Kicks high to the half-back line. Setting himself is Murphy. Strong mark. And he'll take it on the half-back line. He'll have to get it moving in a hurry. Still 3 straight kicks the difference. Almost 29 minutes gone. Murphy goes in short. Will find Jamison. No pressure on Jamison at all as Port Adelaide starts to tire in the closing minutes. Half forward line. Bartlett. Liptak through. One to beat. Chigwedden. Flanked by Christie. Heads to goal. Offline at point, and the thousands of Tiger fans groan in despair as their last big chance is blown at the 30-metre mark.
Yes, 29 minutes into the final term, and I think you'll find Paul Rezonico may have touched that ball anyway, but Big Christie didn't have the pace to steady the body as Ben Harris puts the ball out and David Hutton takes it on his chest. He's an unobtrusive type of character, but he's a very good player. He's had 16 kicks this afternoon and played a big part in this victory for the Magpies as the ball is punched over the line. These two sides have met on 3 occasions this season. Glenelg have won 2 of those matches. The biggest margin by 24 points. Round 3 at Football Park that took place. But the Magpies, they are a tenacious outfit. As the siren sounds, Glenelg have gone down. The Magpies victorious. Port Adelaide 16-12, 108. Glenelg 13-15, 93.
You've enjoyed it. You've really loved it, mate. 3 in a row, that's tremendous.
This is the best ever. The best ever, Brian.
7 out of 12 seasons, you must be proud.
I am emotional.
You had a lot of gaps to fill today, mate.
Yes.
And you did it well, a lot of injuries.
Yeah, we did our homework well during the week, putting ABBA there, Mark Williams on McDermott, ABBA on Marshall, and tremendous courage because we lost 2 players early, but Port Adelaide.
Great, go and enjoy it, mate.
Port Adelaide has been creating records for decades. Well, they've gone into the record book again. They've won the 1990 title as the best team in South Australia. Thoroughly deserved. Bruce Webber, the Port Adelaide chairman, who's come under enormous flack and pressure in recent months. It's possibly now been all worth it, but as I said, Port Adelaide are in the record books again as the team to win the last grand final in the South Australian National Football League as we've known it since about 1997. And it's been a great win, Graham Campbell, and no one can take anything away from the Magpies. They had every obstacle in the world thrown in front of them, but once again they came up trumps.
Remarkable performance. And I really thought when Scott Hodges, their champion full forward, went down for the count in the second quarter, it appeared to me he wouldn't come back into the game. Therefore, I thought at half-time, perhaps Glenelg were favourites to win the match, but not to be deterred. Port Adelaide came out again with Hodges part of their lineup, and not only did he contribute, he broke the long-standing record by Rick Davies, held since 1983, of 151 goals in a league season. Great effort. When the chips are down, Port Adelaide, Kim, really do take some beating, don't they?
Oh, there's no question of that, Graham. They've won their 30th premiership. They are a magnificent side. Let's go back down to Brian Cunningham once more.
David Hutton, congratulations on butting into your end-of-match celebrations, but this is enormous, isn't it?
Oh, it's great. 3 in a row, sort of something I've dreamed of, you know, and it's too good to explain in words, I think.
It was never easy, though. It was a hard game.
Oh, it was. They were always at us, even the last 10 minutes there, but we steadied and, you know, did all the right things, and it's just great to win the last one like this.
And you showed a lot of poise in the last quarter. Those passes were perfection.
Yeah, well, you know, you got to try and get him in there to Scotty, and he finished off. And I think he got the record, did he?
He surely did.
Yeah, no, it's great.
Tremendous effort, Dave. Go and enjoy it.
Thanks, mate.
Thanks very much, Brian. A very happy Channel 9 commentator, also a past Port Adelaide champion. And there is the final score, 13-15 to Port Adelaide 16-12, as we farewell our Sydney viewers. We thank them for their company this afternoon. I was saying before, Ian, Port Adelaide, they are a magnificent club. They play with a spirit and a passion and a desire that's perhaps void in a lot of other clubs in South Australia.
Well, here's Lee Wicker, the General Manager of the South Australian National Football League, is about to start the grand final celebrations and the presentation of the cup.
To make the official presentation and conclude season 1990, the President of the South Australian National Football League, Mr. Max Bashir.
Your Excellency, Mr. Premier, ladies and gentlemen, firstly, may I thank you all for the tremendous support that you've given to our league throughout this year. You've been absolutely great and we appreciate it. I want to thank all of the clubs for their involvement during the year, and particularly the teams that paid off in the final 5. But I think you'll all agree that these 2 teams that played today were worthy of the honour of playing off for the grand final because they've been outstanding throughout the year. I want to congratulate the Glenelg Football Club on their performance today. They played the game out right to the end and they ought to be congratulated. But there can be no doubt that the best team on the ground today was the Port Adelaide Football Club, and I congratulate them. I congratulate the club, the coach, John Cale, Captain Russell Johnson, and all the players for a great performance on the ground today. It is my very pleasant duty to tell you that the winner of the Jack Odie medal for the best man on the ground today was Port Adelaide's George Fiarchi. George, will you come forward? I think you'll all agree that George thoroughly deserved the honour, and we congratulate him. Well done.
I'd just like to say, first of all, thanks very much to Glenelg, who really put up a great effort all day, and until that siren went, we weren't sure of winning. But these 20 blokes, everyone who's helped us, they're sensational people, and all of you that have read in the press, there's one thing that really matters, is that there'll always be a Port Adelaide Football Club. Thank you.
And now, with your cooperation, I'd like to present the Premiership medallions to the Port Adelaide Football Club.
First player to come forward is number 2, Tim Genevieve.
I love you, Mum!
Number 3, Gavin Wangani. Number 4, George Fiarchi. Number 5, Bruce Abernathy. Number 9, Mark Williams. Number 10, Stephen Williams. Number 11, Scott Hodges. Number 12, Simon Tregenza. Number 14, Wayne Marnie. Number 15, David Hines. Number 17, Paul Rosanaku. Number 19, Adrian Petrie. Number 20, Greg Phillips. Number 25, Jeff Phelps. Number 26, Richard Foster. Number 27, David Hutton. Number 28, Darren Smith. Number 29, Ben Harris. Number 32, Paul Northeast. Captain of the Port Adelaide Football Club 1990 Premiers, Russell Johnson. And the coach of the Port Adelaide Football Club, John Cahill. Hey, Rowan Brownie, up there, Rowan, come on, Rowan.
It is now my very great pleasure to present to the Port Adelaide Football Club the Thomas Seymour Hill Cup for the Premiership of 1990. Port Adelaide.
Thanks very much, Max. To the Glenelg Football Club, commiserations. I really respect their players. It's a tremendous effort. Sorry someone had to lose. To all the Port Adelaide supporters and everyone here today, thanks very much. Thank you.
Port Adelaide supporters, you're the greatest. Thank you.
Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
On the traditional lap of honour.
As you can see, there are a great deal of very happy men down on the oval as they perform their lap of honour, and they have every reason to be. It appears to be a blood-splattered jumper on Scott Hodges, but it's been a magnificent effort. Just repeating those scores: Glenelg 13-15, 93. Port Adelaide 16 goals, 12, 108. And I mentioned to you before, Ian, that the Port Adelaide Football Club, they play with a passion, a desire that is perhaps not as evident in a lot of other clubs in South Australia.
Couldn't agree more, Kim. Also, as I said earlier, I think Port Adelaide was fighting crusade. Now, whilst it didn't affect the players perhaps, but they knew that they had to win for the Port Adelaide Football Club. But what a great effort it was to John Cahill. That is the second time at Port Adelaide that he has coached 3 premierships in a row, and he's a very happy